Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Drinks and Discussions alongside Marcus. I'm Brian, and we'll be your host this evening. We are coming to you live on the corner of Custer in Virginia at Uncork. We're also streaming to you live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you're nearby, come by. We've got a lot to discuss this evening. We've got our resident bartender, Danny, serving up some great cocktails. And if you are watching online, please don't forget to put something in the comments so we can make sure you're a part of the discussion and give us a like. And as always, we appreciate you joining Drinks and Discussions. Sorry. How about that? Is that better? I hope you guys can hear me. Marcus, want to go ahead and give you your mic check as well. See if you can.
Mic check. Mic check. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay.
Liz, is that better? I hope that's better for you guys. Anyway, let's see how that works out. Let me turn that volume down. Is that better, Liz? Or is the volume better? It should be better. I know we're talking and it's a little bit of a lag on the chat, so hopefully they're watching. And
got it.
There we go. Yep, it sounds like we're better now. Hey, April, want to say hello to you too as well. I'm gonna step back on my microphone just a little bit as well. And again, guys, let me know. Keep it good up. We appreciate the feedback. We'll try to adjust the volume as we go along. But alongside Marcus, I'm Brian. We are your host on Drinks and Discussions again this evening. We are remote tonight because my wife had plans with her friends to do dinner, and as most of you know, I have a 4-year-old, so I was on daddy duty with him, playing video games and playing around, giving bath times, and so that's a little bit reasons why I'm a little late getting started as well. Hello, Chris. Nice to see you as well. We got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about our drinks. We've got a little NBA action, and we've got a topic, too, that was suggested to us by someone else on one of our past streams that we're going to continue. Hopefully, Megan will join us. Again, Liz, if you would like to join the conversation, again, you don't have to be on video, but if you want to participate on the panel, please let me know, and I can set you up and make sure you can get in here. See, Alan, I know I didn't really want to do my intro all over again. I know it was a little lower than the actual music was, but I'm turning my volume back up again for you guys as well. So again, let me know, turning it up as we speak. But you got to have Discord, Liz, if you want to join it as well. So here we go. I hope that's better. I just turned my volume back up. So Marcus, how's everything going, buddy? Talk to me.
Oh man, it's going. Going. We had a weekend here. I didn't have a whole lot going on this weekend. I do my Saturday morning workout as usual, and what else? A couple of errands. Did a little bit of professional development. I've started to do that a little bit more here in the last couple of months, just trying to keep myself relevant in the industry and, with my employer and things like that. So did a little bit of that this weekend. And then, of course, Sunday, spent some time with Mom, and she was gracious enough to let me watch the Maverick game and sit on the couch and fall asleep like I always do after eating,
So I just wanted to tell you, I wanted to tell you, Marcus, that I am going to catch you. Well, I can't say I'm going to catch you, but I did start my workouts again. I'm back out there and I'm hitting it. Not only am I doing the weights in the garage, but I got my resistance bands in my office. So I'm doing that for, stretching out the muscles. So I'm going to be ready, man. I'm going to be no T-shirts in the swimming pool ready in the next month.
I know. I've got a couple layers around my midsection. I'm trying to
Uh,
shed too. Believe it or not, as we get older, Brian, it's harder and harder to bounce back.
yes.
Uh, I was probably went about 3 months, and I really wasn't working out that much, but I've been more consistent with it probably about the last 6 weeks or so,
Hmm.
and I can notice the difference. But I'm still dragging some extra weight, but
Man, you said
I'm
you
getting back. I'm getting back.
you hit it, man. I mean, I used to be able to drink what I want, eat what I want, all those types of things,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden, it was just
It's harder and
I
harder.
can't do that anymore. Um, I actually tried to bounce back a while back. I did a challenge with one of my buddies, and tell you, man, it was difficult to just do a 30-day type of a thing with him.
Hmm. And I
But
don't know. I don't know about you, but oh, go ahead.
no, that was it. I'm sorry, that was it.
Oh, oh yeah. I don't know about you, but my weakness is sweets, and uh, my biggest weakness, uh, dare I call it an addiction, are those little Debbie oatmeal cream pies. But I don't just I've graduated from those little bitty baby ones,
Hmm.
and I go for the big double decker ones that you can get at the gas station.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. That is not even close. That's not even close to my weakness. I don't. I could probably go all my life without eating anything sweet. Really.
Oh man, well, good for you, man. I wish I had that because man,
And it's
man, but
and it's funny because my weakness has been for the longest time because again I told the story before on here. I used to live across the street from another business owner, and he'd stop working at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I would not be working because I didn't have anything really to do, and then we'd start drinking at that point in time. Um, and beer was my thing, and then all of a sudden it's become more. I'm getting off of beer because I know that's the worst things as far as carbs, and it gives you that beer belly and all that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, I will tell you this: I didn't really understand it, and maybe I did. I just didn't recall until Dr. Dave. I was on one of his streams last night or the other night, and he was pouring. And I always pour my canned beer into a glass. But he also said that the reasons why you pour your beer into a glass is because it releases all that carbonation. So that carbonation is not going into your gut and making you feel that kind of that bloatedness. And so
uh,
I've been doing aluminum bottles and
so
stuff
does
like
it?
that. I'm gonna start pouring everything in a glass
Okay.
now.
Does I wonder if that applies to just any carbonated beverage
I think
can.
so. I think so. I've always done it with Cokes. But I'm not even a Coke drinker that much. But if I had a Coke, and I would always take it out of the can. But I think it applies to everything. And
Okay.
Liz says
I'm a
Pez is her weaknesses. Pez.
Pez. Well, did she get her? Did Liz get? Did you get your Easter bunny Pez for Easter?
So let's go ahead and get into it, Marcus. Let's go ahead. Tell me what you're going to be drinking on. Tell everybody what you're drinking on as well tonight.
Well, it's funny that we were just talking about cans. Well, I've got a regular Mountain Dew in a can right now. Where's my camera here?
Hmm.
Right here. So
It's blended into your blur. There it is. Bring it up
there it
right
is.
there. There it is, right there.
There it is. So I just got a regular Mountain Dew tonight, and I've got my trusty water in the background.
Samuel Adams makes a special glasses that are micro etched to help release the carbonation, is what Cialan is saying. And I like Samuel Adams beer, some of them. I know he has a wide range of different types of Samuel Adams, but I don't know exactly which ones. I could tell you off the top of my head which one I like, but I do believe Samuel Adams makes a pretty good beer. And Liz says Pez can be delivered by the pound from Amazon.
Golly.
Hey, me, Megan. I'm sorry. Are you joining Discord? Come on in if you did. I sent you the link on Discord. All right, guys. So what I'm drinking tonight, out of my plethora of different types of bottles, is I'm going with Elijah Craig tonight. Elijah Craig is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, which means um, it's not a full bourbon. It's a bourbon whiskey, and it is made in Kentucky. And where was it? They said that you can only name it real bourbon if it was in Tennessee. Is it Tennessee? I have to
I think
revisit.
so.
That's
Tennessee
what.
or Kentucky, one of the
Well, Kentucky says this one
or
says bourbon whiskey. Um,
okay.
so again, I'm not really sure. I forgot about which one that one was, but I know that there's one place you can only call it a full bourbon, and that's why other ones call themselves bourbon whiskey. I got to look that one back up again. But Elijah Craig is one of my favorite. My wife actually turned me on to this because she was trying to surprise me for either a birthday or something, and um, mine is backwards. Is that what you're saying, Megan? Or is it?
Sure.
Is my
Me
camera
or
backwards?
I
I don't
can't.
know. My camera didn't look backwards on what I'm looking at. So anyway, I'm drinking. That's what I'm drinking. So cheers to you, buddy.
Cheers.
And in case you guys are wondering too, Megan is going to be joining, and also we may even have our former host guest hosting with us tonight as well. I'm going to actually ping him and tell him to jump on as well. Um, let's talk first, guys. Let's talk a little sports. I know some of you guys aren't really big
Yeah.
into sports, but we are in playoff time. Um,
Right.
the Mavericks are
We
our
are.
home team. They have
Yes.
very much overperformed, if you ask Marcus and I. And I'm gonna let Marcus start first because he was the one calling me saying that he thought we would at least win two games, but it looks like they could possibly win more than that because they are at 2-2 now.
Right. Yeah. Anything from here on out is going to be gravy. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, it was gravy just getting past the first round, and we hadn't done that since the championship year in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
But before we went live, I was actually ready to rip the Mavericks even before the start of the Utah series, but I've since calmed down a little bit. But so that may be a topic to revisit another day, maybe in the off season or perhaps next year. But as for right now, they look surprisingly good, and I don't think we can give enough credit to Jason Kidd. The Mavericks they're not an extremely deep team. They're not an extremely athletic team compared to a lot of the teams in the NBA, especially compared to Phoenix.
Right.
But Jason Kidd has done a masterful job, in my opinion, just really getting these guys to buy in and rally for and with each other.
Right. And that's one of the things I've actually seen. Yeah, I did see that Chris Paul video. We're going to talk about that, Chris, in just a few seconds. But what I didn't know about Jason Kidd is because you and I, we both grew up watching Jason Kidd for the Mavericks. Being a
Yep.
tough, gritty basketball player is not anything remotely you would attribute to Jason Kidd. He was not a tough
Right.
guy. He was not a bruiser. He was not a physical type of a player. He was kind of a finesse kind of a guy. The way that he has these Mavericks playing, they seem to be a little bit more physical than the Phoenix Suns do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that, and I think as he matured in his career, especially the latter years of his career, I think I think that light bulb went off, and you started hearing him being talked about as one of the better defensive you know guards in the NBA. But again, that happened later in his career, and I think that's what he's able. That's a perspective that he's able to draw upon with these guys because there's a lot of resemblance to this team in the way that they play.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of resemblance to this team compared to the 2011 championship team.
Yeah, Chris. We're looking at Chris was saying that Jason Kidd was one of his favorite players. James the Mick is talking about Chris Mullin. Chris Mullin was the quintessential Jason Kidd. Before there was Jason Kidd, there was Chris Mullin out there in Golden State. I remember I ran into I was dating someone, I believe, at the time, and we were visiting somebody that she knew at the Renaissance Hotel downtown Dallas, and the Golden State Warriors were staying in that hotel. And as we're getting on the elevator, Chris Mullin and a couple of other guys were on the elevator, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, Chris?" He kind of smiled and said, "Hey, what's up?" And then moved on. I wasn't. See, again, I'm not one of those guys that get like starstruck. I'm not gonna like pretend that I'm like, "Oh, can I get your autograph?" or anything like that.
Man, long time ago, I used to work at Blockbuster Video.
What's that?
That's when Blockbuster Video was around. I know, right? So, and I would see Michael Irvin and Darren Woodson come in to the shop every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, I didn't get starstruck. Yeah, I do love those guys and admire them, and I'll act a fool cheering for them. But if I see them in person, I'm usually not gonna probably do much.
Right. You know what? And I guess you know who ruined me on that a little bit? Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, if you guys don't know, Deion Sanders also lives, or he used to live in this area. And Deion Sanders was the biggest asshole I've ever run across. I was actually with a friend of mine, and I don't know if you ever heard of, I'm not going to say the name of the place, but you know the restaurant that's right across the street from the Embassy Suites and where the Frisco Rough Riders play? The restaurant that's right across there?
Yes, it's a bar.
Yes, it's like a bar where the ladies dress a certain way.
Yes,
but it's not.
Yes,
but it's not a strip club. Yeah, but it's not a strip club, folks.
No, it's not. It starts with the number 2, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
Right. So, he used to frequent that place. Him and Jock from the Dallas Morning News. John Jock Taylor.
Jock.
Yeah. They would be in there, and I was happening to have another female acquaintance of mine there with me, and we were just talking, and she was like, "Oh my God, that's Deion Sanders. I love him. I wonder if he'll give me his autograph." And I said, "Wait a minute. The guy's up there eating. He's talking to Jock, who's a reporter. You don't know what they're doing, so let's just let them have their moment, and I'll go ask for you at a later time." He was finished his meal. Jock had just walked out. I went over there, and I said, "Hey, Deion, I'm sorry to disturb you, man. My friend over there, big fan. You mind if she comes over and gets his autograph with you real quick?" Who said, No. And I was like, it'd be real quick. We waited for all this stuff. And he goes, "No, man, no." And I was like, "Okay, well, thanks. I appreciate it. I was trying not to disturb you." And I really wanted to say asshole, but I didn't. I went on back over there and I said sorry. And and she wasn't bad looking to the person I was with. She wasn't a bad looking chick. You know how he likes to be around pretty women. So I'm sitting there thinking, man, okay, if she was ugly or something like that, you could tell me, bounce, dude, get out of here, man. But
right.
Anyway, he spoiled me on me asking anybody for an autograph. Unless they come to me and say, "Hey, man," I'll say, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's like, "Hey, you want an autograph?" And I'll say, "Sure." That's the only way I would actually get an autograph from anybody. Chris Allen,
that's.
C. Allen said he has some stories he could tell us. I bet. C. Allen, you got to come on and tell us, man. Give us a little bit, even in the chat. Just go ahead and we'll read it out here on the live stream.
Right, tease us up a little bit in the chat.
Hey, Megan.
That's
just real quick. Megan, talk to your mom. Don't worry. We're going to be here. We're just talking about the sports and the boring stuff right now. So, we're waiting on you to really get into the meat and potatoes of some of the other stuff we're talking about. Chris Pratt in the elevator with Liz. Come on now, Liz. Chris, out of all the people, Chris Pratt does it for you.
Wow. Okay.
Now, let me explain something. charming, funny guy. I get it. But I saw Chris Pratt in 2 movies I want you to remember. If you haven't seen them, go back and see them. Delivery Man is number 1. And that is with, who's the tall comedic actor? Vince Vaughn. It's Vince Vaughn.
Okay.
And it's a kind of a funny but a very touching movie. So Chris Pratt's in that. Doesn't look like the same Chris Pratt. And then if you never saw the movie with Angelina Jolie when she was a sniper. You remember, was it Salt?
Oh, was that Mr. Smith or no. Mr. and Miss, I'm thinking of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, it wasn't that one.
Maybe it was Salt.
I think it was Salt, and he's in that one too as the guy who's patronizing the guy who plays the new Professor X. What's his name? I forget his name, but the guy who plays the Professor X in the other movies, the X-Men movies.
Oh, and the X-Men.
And he also was in
yeah.
He was also in the M. Night Shyamalan movies, not the with Samuel L. Jackson. He was the guy, the Beast. I don't know. James McAvoy.
Yeah,
James McAvoy.
Okay. Got it.
Yes, I think it was the Salt, where she was the Russian sleeper agent. And is that the one with Morgan Freeman in it? Sea Island. Hey Nick, you gonna join us on Discord, buddy? Come on in the Discord channel if you want to be on the video, dude. I sent you a link on that. So, Sea Island says a co-worker caddied for his airness, Michael Jordan. When they were done, Jordan walked away from him and no tip. Being in as a present was enough. not even an autograph. I've heard some stories about Michael Jordan as well. I heard he was kind of a dick. I have met that. Seen that.
See, that's why I don't get starstruck when I see these guys, because I don't want to give them that opportunity to, because I'm probably going to say something.
Me, yeah, because they think they're better than us. I don't like that at all. So Liz, what did you think about Delivery Man? Did you like Delivery Man? I heard Pippin is worse, Sea Island. I heard he was worse than Jordan. But here's the deal, too. This is what I tell a lot of my guy friends, especially my younger nephews and everybody else. Be careful, too, when you start fantasizing about these ladies that you see on movies. They don't look like that in real life, folks. They don't walk around all glamour and glitzy every moment of the day. Even some of these guys who get buff for movie roles, they don't walk around buff like that 24/7. They get buff for the 3 months that they have to prepare for the movie. Once they're done with the movie, they let it go, or they're preparing for another role and their body takes on a whole different shape. That's why you gotta stick with the head honchos like Marcus and I. We look this good 24/7.
Right. Stick with the regular folk.
Oh yeah, it was called Wanted, not Salt. Wanted was the Angelina Jolie movie that we're talking about with Chris Pratt. Sorry about that, not Salt. It was Wanted. I'm with you on Vince Vaughn, and it wasn't Chris Pratt's best movie either. But when Vince Vaughn was kind of like a really good comedic actor, when he did Wedding Crashers, my wife and I can sit down and watch that every so often, like once a month or 2 months. It's still a good movie to me. That was probably his best role, was in Wedding Crashers. Yeah, look. Let the wigs and the makeup come off. Look, you got to be careful who you meet on the internet these days too, because those filters come off too. Watch those filters, ladies. I'm trying to see how I could actually put some filter up. I'm trying to put a filter around this my video screen to see if it kind of portrays me in a different way.
I've got a filter background right now. I'm in my podcast bunker.
Yes, he was playing. Chris Pratt is from your state, Liz? Is that what you're saying? Hey Nick, I'm trying to see if you're coming in over here real quick. Hold on a second. Let me double check and see if you're knocking on the door. Don't see anything yet. But I did see Nick.
What, Liz? If you're okay sharing, what state are you from?
Yeah. I I I I, I haven't. This is going to come as a surprise because I'm a big Marvel guy. I have not seen all of any of Garlic Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I saw part of the first one,
Oh,
but I have not seen any the second one for sure
okay.
at all.
Yeah,
So
old
Washington
school.
State.
Yeah, I've seen. Oh, Washington State. Okay. I've seen old school. I like that one. You're
I,
my boy, Blue.
I think I saw that once, but I don't have enough. I don't remember it enough to quote movies. I know a lot of people like it. I just do remember the time when somebody came home. Was that the it's old school when the guy comes in and his wife is having sex with his best friend or something after he goes to work.
Uh, mm, I can't remember now.
I'm getting
Yeah, I can't
I'm getting made fun of. I haven't seen those movies, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
remember.
I'm sorry. I really am sorry, folks. I know I should have seen them. I'm a really
But you,
big. Go ahead.
but you're a Marvel fan. You're a Marvel fan, though, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, okay.
Uh, let's see. I just wanted to say hello to the guy who's probably been the biggest thorn in my side for the last 15 years. Ken Quanti is online. He is the guy that loves me, stalks me every day on every podcast. So if you guys see Ken in the chats, that's my man love. He's the guy who secretly is in love with me. He just doesn't want to open up and tell the whole world and or his wife. So just let you know. What's up, kid? Good to see you. I heard you play golf today. I hope you did good. Good to see you back on the course. I wish I would have been able to make it today, but I couldn't. Um, I'll open up. Luke. Yes, Luke Wilkinson comes home early from a business trip to find his girlfriend cheating on him. Yep, that was it. Okay, Megan, I keep seeing you on there. I just didn't know if you have any problems jumping in, please let us know. Let's get back a little bit more on. Ken won $1 at golf today. Great. Let's get back on. So we've got the Mavericks. The Golden State Warriors are up 3-1. You've got the Philadelphia 76ers are playing Miami, and they were losing big by the time we came on tonight's show. So if anybody has any updates on that game, please let me know. The Mavericks will be playing later on this evening, Game 5. They will be in Phoenix. So they're going to have that home team crowd in at their disposal. But I still think the Mavericks are going to have a great chance of actually pulling one out of there. What say you, Marcus? Who
Yeah.
you got?
All right. Oh yeah. No, I think they've got a really good chance. I think they kind of got Phoenix up against the ropes a little bit, and I think they definitely stymied them in these last two games. Now, Phoenix is a good team. They didn't win 62, 64 games, just because. So they're still a good team, and I think they're going to come out swinging hard tonight because they are back home, and so I expect them to, man, just throw the kitchen sink at us here in within the first 5 minutes. But I think if the Mavericks can weather that storm, I mean, shoot, I mean they've proven that they can do it, So
Um, I really believe that it's going to be the Golden State Warriors and it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks in the finals. I think you still have Phoenix as a sleeper team, but in my hearts of hearts, I still say that the Golden State Warriors will win this championship this year. I don't think I see anybody that can outshoot them by any stretch of the imagination. Heat are up 30
Right.
in the fourth. Hey,
Yeah, they are.
Hey, been there.
Yeah, they are.
Thanks for joining, buddy.
They
I know.
are killing them. Hey, did you hear Ja Morant might be out for the rest of the series?
Yes, I did see that. They say he might be out for the rest of the playoffs.
Yes, that's what I'm. Yep. Yep. So
I
there's
just saw
no
that.
way Memphis is gonna beat Golden State without him.
So Nick Volt is on there. So I had a little downtime today, and Chris Octor has Suns versus the Celtics. I'm telling you right now, that Celtics versus Milwaukee matchup has really, I think it's going to go down to the wire, and whoever comes out of that is going to have to worry about stamina, because you're going to have whoever plays them in the next round, they're going to be done with their series, and I strongly believe that the Suns Celtics will go 7 games. All the way, 7 games.
You mean Milwaukee and
Milwaukee and Boston.
Celtics?
Yes. Yeah, Boston Celtics. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And by the way, I was going to say, I saw Nick is on the Nick Volt's on in the chat too as well. While I was kind of slow this afternoon, I ended up watching. And as most of you guys know, I've actually been on my VR system on one of my promos here. I'm kind of not a big gamer, but I'm a big VR guy as of late. And I was watching Nick land an airplane simulator today. And Nick, I want you to tell me, because I had to drop. I never saw it land. Were you able to land, or did you give up and start all over again? I would love to know that. It was this big. It looked like it had all the buttons. It was like a realistic flight simulator. I didn't realize. Well, I kind of realized, but you don't realize until you see it, how many buttons and gadgets and gears that an airplane cockpit actually has. And I thought for the longest time that we had advanced to the point where don't the airplanes fly themselves the majority of the time? The only thing you have to do is take it off and land the plane. Everything else is done automatically, right?
Yeah, you could stick a blow up pilot in the seat just like they did in the movie Airplane. Let it fly.
And is that the one who says, "Don't call me Shirley"?
Yes.
Hey Bart, thank you for joining. We're just kind of getting started today. We're just talking about a little sports, and we've got a couple of other topics that we're going to really get into. We're just kind of waiting on a couple of people to join. We were a little late getting started, but thank you for the nice comments. I'm always happy to join Dr. Dave's live stream and talk about things, and just maybe give everybody a little bit of a different perspective on what everybody else is already saying. So I appreciate the kind words. Hockey, you know that the Stars are doing pretty well too, guys. So we've got the Dallas Mavericks, we got the Dallas Stars in the playoffs.
The Stars took one on the chin a little bit last night, but I think they lost 4-1, so the series is tied up at 2. But yeah, they're playing well. I mean, the Stars are a really gritty team, and that sounds very vague and generic, but that's just what they are. Rick Bowness, their head coach, he gets those guys going, and yeah, they're just a gritty team, and it's hard to believe, Brian, that we are only 2 seasons removed from them being in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yes, 2, yes, and I think that they still have a shot. Yep. I think they're. I don't know if they're the favorites because I haven't really watched a whole lot of hockey, but I think they are contenders to make it this year.
I think Colorado might have something to say about that, but the old Avalanche, they made quick work of the. They dismissed the Nashville Predators in 4 straight games, so they're just sitting and waiting on this next opponent.
Hey Ginger, nice to see you, and thank you. We appreciate the love from Montana. Montana, I don't know if they've got a professional team, but if you don't have a team, I always tell you should go with America's team, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. root for the Dallas Cowboys.
You got the Montana State Grizzlies or the Montana Bobcats, maybe.
I'm talking about the professional teams, man.
I know.
You're talking about no college. Come on. Yeah, the Stars are looking pretty good, and they have been some brutal games out there, Chris. Some really brutal games. The Ginger says she loves the Avalanche. So the Minnesota Avalanche. Is it the Minnesota Avalanche?
Colorado
Avalanche. Colorado. That's what I'm thinking. So, wait a minute. It was where did the North Stars? Where did the Dallas Stars come from?
From Minnesota.
Minnesota North
they
Stars.
Were the North Stars.
Yes, that's what it was. Yep. Not Montana, but I'm thinking the M is another M. It's the Minnesota North Stars. So, guys, tell us in the chats, what are you guys drinking out there? I know I'm not the only one drinking a little bit of libations on this beautiful Tuesday. But tell us what you guys are drinking out there. Let us know. Marcus, again, is drinking his little Mountain Dew. He still didn't pour it in the can after we tried to educate him on his carbonation etiquette. He still didn't want to pour it in a glass, so he's drinking out of a can. And I'm drinking Elijah Craig, the whiskey bourbon. And I got a round ice as well too. It's just a round ice. Oh, that representing my Texas Rangers, by the way, too. See that?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. They're kind of trying to wake up a little bit. They're not. I mean.
So I wanted
started out really rough, but they.
Go ahead. I wanted to talk to you guys about something too before we get into the meat of our subject matter here. She says, Elizabeth saying that we don't, although we have some players come out of Montana. Croy Bourbon, he played for the Atlanta Falcons for a while. If you like at least one big disappointment every year, root for the Cowboys. See, I'm about to put Ben there on silent on the chat talking about my Cowboys, man. I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Hey, we had a Washington Commanders sighting in the comments. Chris thinks they might be Super Bowl champs.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that vote of confidence. Oh no, not the Washington Commanders equal Super Bowl champ. I thought you were talking about. Listen, I don't know if they will even win 3 games next year, but they've got a mess of an organization they're dealing with. That's a distraction, number one. And while I do like Rivera as the head coach, I'm not really also certain that they have a quarterback to play for the Commanders. Who is their quarterback?
Taylor Heineke, maybe still. That's who it was last year. That's who. I don't know.
So Chris Archer is drinking Old Smoky Tennessee peanut butter whiskey, which is, by the way, my best friend Tim's wife gave me some of that once, and it is actually better than I thought it was going to be. Peanut butter whiskey. Ginger is drinking gin and tonic. Appreciate that. What else do we see out here? Seattle New Glaria Spotted Cow beer. Spotted Cow beer sounds disgusting, but I'm gonna go ahead and let us know how it tastes. But Spotted Cow beer sounds really disgusting. I see your avatar, your screen is up, but we don't hear you just yet, so I'm not sure if you're disconnected. Go ahead. Were you there, Megan?
Can't hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. It's kind of spotty on hearing you. It's kind of spotty. Oh yeah, been there. Carson Wentz is the Washington Commanders quarterback, but that leads me to ask. That still leads me to ask: do you have a quarterback?
Okay, so no, I just broke a glass on the floor, so I'm just kind of cleaning that up right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hope you didn't spill your champagne glass.
Oh hell no.
Okay, all right.
You need to get that.
So Ginger says her son is a diehard Titans fan, so no amount of trying to change his mind. You know, the Tennessee Titans actually had a pretty decent squad toward the beginning of the season. Derrick Henry went down for a little bit, and they still made a pretty decent run, didn't they, toward the end?
They did. Didn't they draft, Ryan Tannehill's their quarterback, but didn't they draft Malik Willis out of Liberty?
I believe he did.
I think they did in the second round, maybe. I think it was the second round. Could be wrong, but I think that's who they drafted.
Well, all I can tell you, there's no quarterback better than Dak Prescott in the NFL. Just guys letting you know that right now. Dak Prescott is going to set the NFL on fire. And listen here, guys. I know Marcus and I don't see eye to eye on Dak Prescott. I know we don't. But I saw some practice footage this week. Dak Prescott is healthy. He will be an amazing quarterback. And I can't wait to see your face to say, I told you so, Marcus. Can't wait to say it.
I'll be okay with that because it's a win-win for me. You know, either you'll be, if you're telling me so, that means we're doing well, and my Cowboys are doing good things. But if he doesn't, then I still win.
So, Bart Robinson is drinking his favorite old school beer, Schlitz. Schlitz malt liquor, man. Come on, dude. That goes old school. Hey, Silly Wabbit, good to see you. Glad to see you come on board here and watch us talk about just about anything here. We got Nick. Professor Nick is going to be joining us, and Megan is also on board. Cheers here. We're Bart, Basil Hayden is probably one of my favorite smoothest bourbons. The only thing I don't like about it, it's that it is 40 proof. It's not like 45 or 50 proof. It's 40 proof. And I tend to find myself drinking more of it. It's a good tasting bourbon, but it's lacking on the alcohol content for me. I like more of a heavier type of a bourbon. I want it to make me feel something when I drink it.
They did that because they know how much you wanted to drink it, so they didn't want you to get too hammered.
Listen, I'm glad the people at Basil Hayden have my best interest at heart, Megan. I appreciate that. I must have done something right on Drinks and Discussions podcast that they took notice. That something about the draft. He said Ginger said somebody they thought her son mentioned something about that in the draft about the Titans, I believe. Megan, let me know when you're ready because again we hadn't started talking about the main meat of what we're talking about. We're just kind of doing some filler.
Let's just.
Do you want to get into it?
Gathering pieces of glass.
Oh, okay. Okay, no rush. We're just going to talk about some other things. So I want to talk about something that it's about me. And I wanted to know, and I think Marcus and I talked about this before, but I wanted to get everybody else's viewpoint of it. My son is 4, and he's tall for a 4-year-old. I'm the kind of dad that is still kind of like... I'm a tough dad. I want him to be rough and tough, play sports and all that. But I'm also one of those guys that's like, okay, that's too high. Let me come up there on the playground. I'm still on the playground equipment with him, walking up there with him. And my wife is like, oh my God, he can do that by himself. I'm afraid that he's going to hurt himself. I also still pick up my child. My son, I carry him all the time. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because somebody said something about, and I don't pay attention to these people, but when I just saw it on my feed on Yahoo or something, it made me start thinking about it. One of the Kardashians was having a picture, and they had their 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old daughter, and she was holding them. And people were like all up in arms, like, why is she still holding this child? And I'm like, wait a minute. What's wrong with that? I mean, literally, my son looks like a 6-year-old. I still pick him up. He's still light to me, so I don't mind holding him. And it's not like I'm holding him everywhere I go. Like if I say, hey, let's go outside for a little bit, so I'll pick him up outside. If we get out of the car at the grocery store, I pick him up and walk him through the parking lot. And then we get to the side where the store is, then I put him down. That's all I do. But is something wrong with picking up your child at a certain age? I didn't know that was a thing.
I wouldn't say wrong, because I mean I get why a parent would do that or still does it. But maybe I guess yeah. I mean I don't know. Yeah, I mean because you want like things about things on how to walk through a parking lot. Those are things that you want them to learn.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know that there's necessarily wrong. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was. See, and the funny thing about that is, and thank you, Silly. Lisa says, "Hold them as long as you as well. Hold them as long as you can." I believe that. I see him doing more and more things. I mean, listen, my kid has an iPad. He knows how to use the remote control. He knows how to push the button to tell Siri or Alexa to change the channels. He talks to our Alexa Dot and tells her to turn on lights. He knows how to do all these things because technology is what I do, and he's exposed to it, so he maneuvers around things very easily. But when I see him trying to do things that are a little bit more on the he's growing too fast spectrum, like climbing up tall things, we have a little play area in our backyard for him. I even tell my wife I get nervous when he's on the swing set. I want to be near him, so if he falls off the swing, he's not going to fall off the swing, but if he does, I want to be there. And my wife's in the comments as well. Jennifer, love you, babe. And she will always hold him, and we both let him sit in our lap. We let him, do it. And a lot of people just have a problem with, and this is one of the things I was going to talk to Marcus about, because Marcus has a daughter. Men, especially black men, in my opinion, as I've grown up, we tend to show less emotion. At least from my experience, my dad was not a very emotional person, and he was part white and part black. My uncles are the same way. I even have cousins who were, still that same way too, with their children. So I just want to get everybody's perspective. Do you think that there's a time or an age that you shouldn't baby or hold or pick up your child? And if you want to share any stories about when you felt that it was, was it hard for you to let go? When did you ever cut that string? Just give me some feedback, guys. Tell me what you did. And Liz is saying that she wish she could hold her son, but he's 6'3", and she's foot shouldered 5'3". That's a little harder to do unless you got big, strong legs, and you can give him a piggyback ride. Maybe, I don't know.
Liz, I've got my son is 25 years old and 6'3" as well, so I got a big one and a little one.
That's why I was hoping that Trey would have joined this conversation too, because Trey's got 2 little girls, and I know we have talked about this and all that kind of stuff. So, first, Silly Wabbit, I appreciate the comments. Also, if Tiger Woods challenged me to a golf outing, would you accept it? Listen, Tiger Woods, I would push his cart. I would carry his clubs. I'd clean his shoes. I'd do just about anything just to be in his presence for a little bit. And again, I'm not a starstruck person, but if I saw Tiger Woods, he would be the closest living person that I would come to as being awestruck if I ran into Tiger Woods. Would you, Marcus?
Yeah, I still don't think I would be all starstruck, but I would certainly be in awe if I saw Tiger Woods up close and in person.
Well, and by the way, Ben, we're not talking about rights and wrongs. We're just talking about experiences. I'm not asking you or anyone to tell me I'm wrong for feeling a certain way, or I'm not going to tell anybody that they're wrong for doing something that I probably wouldn't do. Again, our channel is just to add perspective. We're not saying that you're right for believing a certain thing or wrong for believing a certain thing. This is just to have a nice, healthy discourse among adult individuals. Hey, Chris. Hey, buddy. We just wanted to let everybody have a forum just to express that perspective, no matter what it is. And your differences of opinion are always welcome here, no matter what it is. I am getting better, by the way, at my golf game. It's really, really fascinating because I started taking lessons a little bit, and after some of the lessons, I felt that the lessons were making me do something that I just didn't feel comfortable with. So I stopped, took what he was telling me, and I just started tweaking what I felt was best for me. And man, I shot a 94 last week when I played, and that's down from like 98. So, 4 strokes off. I'll take 4 strokes off, and I still made 3 triples on that round. So, I'm hoping that Tiger Woods may notice me on some of my golf videos when I start posting them and want to play around with me. Just kidding. Just kidding. Marcus, you reading the chats? Are you listening to me? I don't know what you're doing over there.
No, I'm doing both, reading the chats and listening to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've had some accidents on, and I think that's one part of my reasons why I am the way I am. I've had accidents growing up on swing sets. I actually had the one accident I 100% remember. I almost killed my little brother. Not really, but to me it seemed like it. Remember the sand weights, the little plastic weights that had the concrete inside of them, the concrete weights? They were like different colors. You could have red, and they were the first weights that you ever had. And they were just filled with the cement or something. Well, it wasn't when, whatever the case may be. Back in the day when our first weight set, we were taking off the weights on each side. I took mine off a lot faster than he did, and the weights just went crashing down on top of him over there, and the bar went bam and almost knocked him completely out behind the head. Luckily, it had that little plastic thing in the middle of the bar, so it wasn't one of those big Olympian 45-pound bars. It was like probably 10-pound bar, so I kind of got away with that. But that's one of the reasons why I remember now. To even if I'm working out by myself, I take one weight off each side, instead of just pulling them all off on one side.
Oh, yeah. No, I learned that too at a very early age. I think the first time I started lifting weights was probably 7th grade. I think about the first time I started lifting weights was 7th grade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned that. I learned that pretty quick too.
Ben, I appreciate the comments. And yes, and the more you listen to our channel, the more you will understand a lot about my upbringing. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and as I've already mentioned, my dad was he was a great person. I mean, I still talk to my dad, love my dad, but he was not a very affectionate or emotional individual. And I am a very emotional individual. I don't boo-hoo cry, but I tear up in movies. I love kissing my son goodnight, tucking him in. I love hugs. I love squeezes. All those things about kids, I do and probably am overcompensating because of some things growing up that I did not experience or whatever. But I am happy that I still breathe in the atmosphere that my son breathes, because he just makes my whole life better. My wife and my child has made the world to me. So being in his presence just makes me a better person. And that's one of the reasons why I have become such I'm patient, is what I call myself. I used to be a arrogant jackass, if you will. I used to think I was the smartest guy in every room. I used to think that if you didn't know what I was talking about, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. Not as bad or even to the degree of the Joey that we were all talking about, but it took me a long time to kind of settle into being who I am, and a father and a husband. It takes a long time, and you have to do a lot of self-evaluations in order to become a better person, if that's who you strive to be. I'm just talking about me, my own perspective. I'm not on a soapbox here. I'm not trying to point any fingers at anybody. But I'm always going to be honest with you guys about me on here. And I am 100% a better person because of the two people I call wife and baby.
Absolutely. Good to have people in your life that. All right, how does my microphone sound?
It sounded great just now, but when
Great.
you said something, it kind of cut off. But you were great.
Try it again.
You can't. Hold on, I think I might have forgot.
You got to mute your YouTube.
Yeah. I need to arrange it so people can see because it's way too big. But yes.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Okay, so
For me.
Can we hear?
well, you can follow along because I put together a website.
Somebody's talking in the back. We hear something in the background.
You can go to parabolic.
It sounds like it's picking up another.
Another channel?
Is he on a different live stream?
Who's on a different live channel?
I mean, what is all this noise I'm hearing? I don't see either of you talking.
Yeah, that.
I thought that was
I have
you.
no idea.
Do you have something playing on one of your other screens?
You know what? It was me. I don't know how it just now came on when I hadn't touched my computer
It sounds
in
like
20 minutes.
is Jake on Florida Trolls live stream?
Who? Oh,
Jake.
Jake? Oh, I don't know. I don't think I have his email. I'll check. Is Nick on?
Nick said he was going to be over here in a few seconds, but he might be on. I know Frauditor's Troll was doing the live stream, and he might be doing some things over there with him as well.
Let me check my other email.
Ginger, if you suck at golf, I always tell people, even if you played it for one time and you like it, just keep playing it. Keep playing it. It gets better. I'm a competitive guy, and so I wasn't going to let it beat me down when I saw other people doing it, and so I was just one of those things that I just wasn't going to let golf beat me. So that's why I keep playing it. And now I play with guys who shoot low 80s. And it's Silly Rabbit. If you've got Discord, just sign into Discord and let me know what your Discord information is, and we'll let you come on board. I'm gonna text something to Megan. Megan, send me a text message on my phone, please.
Okay.
Because I can't go into the Discord chat because that's the screen that's actually showing our videos, and I don't want to send any chats on there. Yeah, I thought Florida Troll was online earlier today. Liz, I didn't know how long it was going. I think it went to 4 hours yesterday, wasn't it?
Was I on that one?
I
I wasn't. I was in the chat though.
Yeah, you came in the chat like I was yesterday. I started at the beginning, and then I came on at the end after dinner, and just saw a couple of things toward the end, and they were just watching.
I think it was on for
videos.
4 hours.
Yeah.
I told someone to come over here, and you guys were talking sports, and she's like, "It's a sports channel." I'm like,
No.
like only when I'm not there.
Tell her.
Although, really, the Cowboys guys, come on.
We were waiting on the star of the show to show up. You're the star of the show, so we were waiting on you to show up, and we were just kind of doing this the opening act.
Yeah, I need to pull up the chat.
I'm
the opening act. I feel so honored.
but then look.
So does she.
We were talking about what my wife still was talking about that thing you've got that the tunnel, the slash bed that you have in the background.
Oh yeah. What about it?
She still loves it. I don't know if she found one, but she still was like, "Oh, I still remember her cat's little bed play thingy."
So I guess it's called Fred Meyer's in the Northwest, but it's Kroger's.
So Fred Meyer's.
That's where I got it.
So Fred Meyer's used to be okay. So where we are, there's a Kroger superstore.
Sorry.
And they had a Fred Meyer's jewelry store inside of it. So Fred Meyer's is an actual full-fledged store?
Yeah, it's comparable to Walmart.
Wow.
Target.
See, the things you don't
Yeah,
know.
there's so many around me that's typically where I go.
Wow. I am not as traveled as an individual as I thought, because I've only been, I haven't really been on the West Coast. I've been a lot on the East Coast and,
Well, you don't know
and
what
Midwest.
I mean, there's a big ocean. I've met some people who have never seen an ocean like that, or any ocean really. So
Well, my
it's
wife
always
is
fun to bring people back.
my wife is from Orange County, and she's got friends still there, and one of our to-do lists is to get her back to California to see some friends. So maybe I'll run into a Fred Meyers, and I'll take a picture and put it on the podcast. Hey, I was here.
That's pretty funny.
So let's just go ahead and get into some of the other stuff, guys, because I think a lot of people will have a lot to say about what we're going to be talking about. And it's something that's in the news. We have been talking about it in some of my other inner circles of friends. And I don't know if Ken's on the line, but I know he has raised this at a point or a time or two in our just general conversations on the golf course. But Roe v. Wade. There's no better way to get into it than just get into it. Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a leaked document saying that the Supreme Court is poised to say that the Roe v. Wade decision was unconstitutional, overturning that decision. From my understanding, and you guys fill in the blanks, and I'll let you guys have the floor. From my understanding, what this means is that they will deem that decision as unconstitutional. Then the Supreme Court would have it back into their hands to either saying that an abortion legally, you can obtain a legal abortion inside of the United States or not. But they would have to re-argue that in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court would have the decision to make. With the Supreme Court justices outnumbering on the Republican side, outnumbering the Democratic side, they believe that the chance of overturning that is very likely to happen than not. The floor is yours, Miss Megan.
I don't see how it's unconstitutional. Whose rights is it stomping on to allow people to make the decision on their own choice?
So can I back up real quick? And maybe I'm out of the news here, but did the Supreme Court not already vote to overturn it?
No.
Or they have not. Okay.
It's a leaked document.
Right.
That's like they're talking about it. We all saw it coming, though. I mean, that was the whole purpose of getting the conservative judges in there. So I just don't see. I don't know on what grounds it's unconstitutional. Who's right?
Well, let me ask you guys this question. What say you that if you said, I have to protect myself as a woman, Megan or Liz or Ginger or everybody else is out there, it's either you or the little small fetus that you are about to have that is going to live. You can't have both. One of you guys, or your complications are so severe that you cannot bring this baby full term without dying. Would you protect yourself and have the abortion? Should you be allowed to have that abortion in that aspect?
You should definitely be allowed to have the choice. And I think that a lot of things would have to be taken into consideration. First, the likelihood of the baby making it through through labor. Also, who's going to take care of this child if mom's not there? You're bringing a child basically into the world without a mother. Like, these are all things to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have support? Do you have a partner that's going to be there for this child? Is the child going to have birth defects because of the complications, that it's going to make his or her own life miserable? And then not having a mom on top of that. I mean, these are all things to take into consideration, because in a lot of states, most states, the government is not going to help you. They will force you to have that baby, but after that baby's born, you're on your own.
And Liz is saying that she has mixed feelings about abortion. A lot of people do. I am also probably one of them. I do believe that there should be term limits on abortions. I don't think
Which
you should.
there are.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm just saying I agree with those term limits. But also, what Megan has said, I'm also going to throw in one more. There are a lot of people out there who are adults, and when you're an adult, you can determine who you decide to sleep with. Sometimes it's not always the best choice. Sometimes it's an act of sudden emotion. That doesn't
and sometimes
constitute
it's really not your choice.
right, and yeah, and sometimes you're forced. It's forced upon you. I don't think that should actually dictate to you whether or not you should carry that child to full term or not.
Yeah, and these, and I'm sorry to say it, mostly older white men or evangelicals that are making these decisions for us. And a lot of these people are not even in touch with reality.
Yeah,
Like they don't know what it's like on the streets to struggle. They're comfy in their churches and in their government housing. I mean, the good government housing.
right.
So it's,
Right.
Mhm.
yeah, there's definitely a difference.
Yeah.
But
There's a difference.
it's the founders of this country were so careful to be like, we don't want any persecution on religious beliefs, any beliefs. People should be able to live their lives as they choose to live within reason, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But slowly but surely, we're becoming more and more a religious state. If this law passes, it's just the opening, it's just the beginning. Imagine all the other things that they can restrict.
Well, imagine this. Well, imagine the state being a Jehovah's Witness state. That's a religion. Would you want that? I'm just saying.
That's why I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I had the right to choose.
You had a right to choose, right? But a lot of people that I've actually had this conversation with, again, and I appreciate the fact that you're saying white men making this decision for women. I have two things I'd like to ask you. One, what would you say to Barrett, Justice Barrett, who's a white female, 7 children? What would you say to her about this decision and being oppressed upon it by what you say is white men? And then number 2, their argument also is what you consider life, the heartbeat. People are saying, well, it depends on when you have the heartbeat. When you have a heartbeat, that means you're alive, blah, 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 blah. And so they use that as their talking points.
So on the first part, I did say mostly white men and evangelicals. I did include the overly religious in the decision making for other people. So for Justice Barrett, yeah, she's a younger woman. She's a mom, many children. But does she know the struggles? Does she know that she got to make that choice to have 7 children? She was in a position where she was able to do that. And I'm not saying that abortion should just be used as birth control. I'm not saying that. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that it should be the choice of, I believe, the couple, really, if there is a couple involved in this pregnancy, and the doctor. I think those are the only 3 people that really should be involved in the decision. And I think a lot of things should be taken into consideration, because no woman that has had, well, I can't say no woman, because some people are sociopaths out there and psychos, but don't have like a deep regret over even just a miscarriage. Like a miscarriage alone is shameful and stressful and very you feel very guilty about it. And that's not by choice. That's just something that your body is just like, nope, we're not doing this. And so abortion is a major decision in a woman's life, and something that they will never forget.
Right. And
I do think that the men should have an involvement as well. Obviously, they don't have to carry this child. They don't have to push it out of their bodies. And there are men that just bail because they can. Mm-hmm. So I would say they should still be a part of that decision. But as a logical, rational woman, I would I would include, my partner in any decision making when it comes to my child.
Well, let me ask you this
But that's
question.
me.
Let me ask this question because there are some people in the chat saying, making sure that we understand. And I don't want you guys to, if you guys are probably more readily able to look up stuff because I don't want to like go and concentrate on other things. Marcus can even look it up for us as well. From my understanding, and I want to make sure I read this one first before I talk about it. C. Allen was saying that he could be wrong, but he thinks that this abortion, it doesn't make abortion legal or illegal. It takes abortion debate away from the federal government and reverts it back to the individual states. I believe it's the difference. It's different than that. It already belongs in the states. You can go to a state, and that's why they've been doing so much with trying to ban Planned Parenthood in states. States have always had the right. Federal government, the same, and the Roe v. Wade is the one who I believe that gave the states that right. Federal law says you cannot punish anyone or you can't remove that right or take that right away from the states. The argument now on the legal reading or document that says now that they're saying if they say the Roe v. Wade is illegal or that goes against it's an invalid argument, they have to relitigate this. That means that they can say, hey, states or not, we're making this federally illegal anywhere in the United States that you cannot have a safe abortion anywhere. That's what I'm getting. I've read. I believe I've read regarding this particular letter that was leaked. Am I wrong on that, Megan?
No, you're not. You're not wrong on that. I mean, we've already seen states make it illegal to and basically turn their citizens into bounty hunters.
Right.
Giving them an award for ratting on their neighbors and friends. I mean, that's the same way. And I'm not comparing this to Germany back then, but like people were telling on their neighbors for the conversations they were having and things like that. And I'm just worried that this is a stepping stone into the, a much stricter type of country. Right. When the intention of this country was to have these freedoms, and not be persecuted, not have your neighbors come out and tell on you, and then you go to jail and your doctor gets a wicked fine and also goes to jail. I mean, it's just, I don't know what rights are being infringed on by Roe v. Wade being allowed to continue.
And one of the things I always tell people as well is the same people who are saying that abortions are wrong are the same ones who are promoting and advocating for the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and here's another
right.
And here's another thing I like to pose as I mean, again, guys, if you guys believe that there should not be an abortion, we're not trying to tell you not to believe that. That's not what we're doing here. We're just having an open, honest dialogue about this. And if you have, and I'm trying to share as many of your comments in the stream so you guys know that we're giving everybody a voice. But here's my thing as well.
And I'll be happy to pick up on those too, Brian.
Okay. So
yeah, you guys could probably have like a call-in show. People could just come in and they don't have to get on camera.
I think we could probably do something like that. It would probably be a Zoom call than it would be on Discord, but we could definitely arrange something like that. But here's another thing. I hate to hear people inputting religion into this discussion because religions aren't all the same. And a lot of people like myself believe in something, but I don't believe in the same things that other people and other formal religions believe, secular religions. So where do you guys believe religion falls into this decision?
So like I was careful to say evangelicals because they're the ones that are really pushing it, and like most religious people out there don't want to interfere with somebody else's life. Like you do you, as long as it doesn't affect me, in a negative way. And I think that's fantastic. I have nothing against religion. Mm-hmm. It's just when religious people are judging others or telling them what to do with their Sundays, with their bodies, with their diets with their lovers. You know, it's just like, that's not okay.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm all about people believing in whatever they want to believe in, whatever makes them happy and get through life the way they want to. I'm a big believer in that. I don't want to affect other people's lives, like, other than bringing joy into people's lives. I'm all
Right.
about spreading joy. But when it comes to like making laws and things like that, I mean, you really got to take into consideration whose rights are being violated. You know, I mean, there's going to be a lot more rights violated if they do make abortion illegal. And I know that the states can't make it 100% illegal, but they can make it to where you can't do it.
Right.
You know, where it's
Yeah,
just okay. Sorry, I was
Sorry.
reading.
Oh, no, you're good. No, I was just gonna say, so I would certainly wouldn't consider myself evangelical, but I'm Baptist. I was raised Baptist, and I understand, the biblical or Christian perspective on this. However, because I'm an imperfect human, I do believe it should be a choice, and that's just me. Because there are varying reasons, varying situations, varying circumstances that may lend itself to someone making that decision for themselves.
You guys
So yeah,
look at
I definitely think it.
look at Ginger Lebrett's comments in the comment section. I'm not going to read them, but just listen to it, and she makes a very valid point there. Hey Donnie, thanks.
Well, she
Thanks for
did
joining.
ask
We
me to
appreciate
read
you.
it.
She did ask you to read it.
I mean, I just want to get confirmation, Ginger, because your message. Okay, yeah. So, Ginger did say, as a victim of molestation by her uncle, the fact that she had gotten pregnant, and these people would tell her that she has. I'm just going to read it verbatim. As a victim of molestation by my uncle, the fact that I had got pregnant, these people would tell me I had to have his baby. I'm already dealing with trauma still, and that wouldn't be fair to the baby. That is very true.
Very true.
And so the states that are making it impossible for even rape and incest, I mean, they're not giving any sort of any leeway for that. It's just, it's kind of criminal, you know.
And see,
And I'll say this too. Go ahead, Brian.
I was just reading another comment from Silly Wabbit. At what time in life does life begin?
Next question, yeah.
But that's the thing. When my wife and I got pregnant, we had lost a child before we got pregnant with our 4-year-old, which is also probably the reason why I'm so hover dad when it comes to our rainbow baby. But we've watched, and my wife went through her pregnancy. We watched every stage of every week, of every month, of every doctor visit of the pregnancy. So you can watch the embryos, and you can read these books and all that kind of stuff. I still don't understand what that matters, because at the end of the day, if you take an embryo out at a certain stage in life, that embryo could not sustain and live on its own. That's not life. I mean, it's life. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the full creation. You've made something that's not a full individual yet. You can't really, until it reaches a certain stage where it has all the toes, all the body parts and the organs and the brains and all this other stuff. That's when it becomes a full living being. Just because it has a little heartbeat and has like these little things, it's the size of like this big at like 32 weeks, or not 32 weeks, sorry, it's like 16 weeks or something like that. It's very small, like a grape.
And they want to make it 6 weeks.
Yeah, so
6 weeks is the cutoff.
That whole argument about, when does life start? I mean, really, life starts when you are born, when you are outside of your mom's womb. That's when life starts. You hope to give a baby, and if you want to have a baby, you have all that opportunities to continue and have a baby full term. And that's why, again, I said, I don't believe in like those, late term abortions unless it's something that's going to be detrimental to both baby and mom. I get those things happen. But don't know if I understand the whole argument about when life actually begins, because that's not really when life begins, when you just have a heartbeat. It's just not to me.
And I mean, I'm probably not one that really has the expertise in that either. You know, since I've never been able to have a child, so um, it's I don't know that connection in utero.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that as soon as you find out, you usually form an attachment. That's
Right.
what I would assume. But you know, there are some mothers in the chat who have gone through pregnancy.
Well, let me.
I mean, I've had actually a couple miscarriages, and neither of them did I know about beforehand.
Right.
Oh wait, no, I did one. One I knew about a week before the miscarriage.
So, and again, I
So
always come to this live stream and let people know how I'm coming from a place of honesty. I'm not trying to pretend I'm someone that I'm not on here. And I always tell people, if I've gone through a personal experience, I'll tell you about it. But what I'm going to tell you is a personal experience that didn't affect me or my wife, but I knew someone who confided in me about something, and they were going through an abortion. Let me tell you guys, women who go through an abortion, I knew the guy that got her pregnant. It was the hardest thing I've ever seen. One of the hardest things I've ever seen anyone go through. Because this person always wanted to have children, knew that this guy wasn't the guy to have this child with. He was not going to be around, and all these types of things. Not only that was the traumatic portion of that abortion affected her, it was to the point where she couldn't even look at the guy because it would always remind her of the abortion, and she did not want to have to deal with that. And this is the reason this is my point I'm trying to make here. I don't think that people understand that women aren't going and using abortions as contraceptive. I think they're using abortions for the most part. You may have some people who go, I ain't having this baby. I'm out. I'm going to get rid of this baby. You have people who actually have birth in trash cans and trash bags and get rid of the baby, guys. So you're going to have it on both sides of the spectrum. What I'm telling you is that this is not a decision that is easily come to, easy to deal with, and people deal with it for a long time, if not forever. And I'm not equating it to loss of life or a miscarriage, because as I said, Megan, I know from a husband's perspective how hard it is to see a woman go through a miscarriage, especially when you know if you're trying and you wanted to have a baby. I've seen this firsthand with my wife, and it is not something that I will ever forget. I can't even imagine how many times even she looks at my son and she's happy, but there are times of reflection that she probably always goes through about the other one that didn't make it. And that's why I try to remove myself, and I don't understand why other men don't remove themselves from having an in-depth conversation alone among other men without getting perspective from other women about this. Donnie Stone says his wife is still dealing with it.
yeah, it's something I told Silly Wabbit I would touch on, that, you know, if a pregnant woman gets murdered, the murderer gets charged with 2 lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the difference I see there is that murderer just took away their baby. So say, you know, so the husband or the father is still there. Now he lost his wife and child. You know, that was not a decision that him or his wife had made.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't something that they, a good mom, not be a provider, have something go wrong with the baby's health, with my health. You know, I mean, there's so many things to consider.
Right.
Because I mean, already I've had 2 miscarriages. And I'm pushing 40. So I'm already predisposed to not handle a pregnancy well. You know, and it's just a lot. I mean, I do remember back in the day, I was still pretty young, but there was a lot of there's a lot of babies being left in trash cans and literally being thrown away, killed somehow because their mom couldn't deal with it. Postpartum depression is a big factor in that. We have therapy now, so that's
Right.
That's good. I mean, therapy's not as taboo as it used to be. A lot of coat hanger abortions, a lot of chemically induced abortions, and they do foul things to your body. So it's just
Right.
it's just terrible.
I want to just touch on this one comment by C. Allen and how he said when we explored Mars, we found a single called organism or a single celled organism. Then it was announced we found life on Mars. So under 6 weeks old, it's a clump of cells like cancer. He has trouble understanding about when we decide life is life. That's not apples and apples here. You can call a single cell organism life, but that's not human life. In order for you to be a human life form, you have to have all the organs that we possess, a brain, not just a heart. A heart doesn't make you just alive and an individual. It's a lot of different parts that make you a living human organism. So that's kind of what I'm trying to articulate as far as what my stance is on that theory. I understand that there are living cells or single cell organisms and all these other things out there in the world, but we don't call those humans.
Yeah. And they don't need to have a parent bring them into this world and raise that single cell organism. You know,
Right.
and also, I mean, the single cell organism is the beginning of life. That's
right.
Just shows us that there's a chance that life will be there. It's not that, all right, let's go find some humans out there. You know, and I get that a heartbeat is a heartbeat, but
Well, let me.
what about the instances of rape and incest? You know,
Right.
like you don't find out for 6 weeks. That's so rare.
Right.
Yeah.
And then to make that choice in the first 6 weeks.
My wife could easily, and I'm just hypothetical here, but I know that there's instances where this has happened. My wife could fall into a coma, have a car accident, and be pregnant. And the doctors could sit there and say, hey, listen, we have two choices to make. Your wife could live, or your wife could probably pass if we continue to keep her alive full term until your baby's born. My first, without any question in my mind, would be the person I know, love, see every day over a child that I have yet to know. My wife would probably have some problems waking up and knowing that the baby didn't survive. We would work through that. But I'm telling you right now, given that opportunity or that situation that presented itself to me, hands down, I pick my wife. I choose my wife over the child that it was going to put my wife's life in jeopardy. Hands down. And I challenge any happily married man to tell me they would make a different decision. I'm just saying.
I know someone who made that decision. I know a mom that made that decision, and she passed away giving birth to this child. And the child had medical issues and one parent who was deeply depressed, and it broke my heart. Like I can barely even talk about it now.
And and it's weird
But
because
she was just so
I'm not trying to make light of this situation or the subject, but so bear with me if you will. I was watching, again, I'm going back to I'm a Marvel guy. I was watching the Disney Plus series, The White Moon or Night Moon. And they were going back and reflecting on the guy's character as a kid. And he and his little brother went out somewhere, and his little brother died, and he was under his watch. And his mom couldn't look at this little kid, this older brother, because to him, she murdered his kid, her baby. Imagine a child being born to a woman you love and that woman dies. I've seen movies, not anybody personally, but I've seen movies where men have a problem with attaching themselves to that baby because that baby, in essence, caused the death of their wife. So when you guys are talking about that this is a clear, God says a heartbeat is this or whatever, it's not always as cut and dry as what people think it's supposed to be, folks.
And that's the thing; it's not cut and dry, and you can't can't put a blanket over this thing. You can't put this inside of a cookie cutter. Each situation is different. I look at it that way.
I'm going with C. Allen on this too. I'm not on either side of this either. It's not my choice to make. That's where I'm at on this subject.
All right.
It's not.
Which is why
my
choice is a thing. Let the choice be made between the people it affects.
Right. But
I'm not saying pro-abortion, anti-abortion. I'm saying pro-choice. You know, I mean, it's just like allow people to take in all of the considerations, to not put a blanket over it like the government wants to.
So let me flip this a little bit, if I may, and not necessarily talk about just the abortion aspect. And some of us are familiar with the other channels that we're on, and we're talking about rights and freedoms. What say you guys about someone just telling you that they are trying to take your rights and your freedoms away from you? What do you guys say about that?
Yeah, well, Zeus, real quick, I was talking about men having a choice. I do believe that men should be able to have a say in that as well. But you got to think there's plenty of men out there who just bail and abandon the woman and the child and leave them high and dry. So kind of torn on that, but I do think the men should have a say. I just don't think strange men who don't know you should have a say.
Absolutely.
Or not just strange men, evangelicals, extremists, people who want to butt their nose into other people's business.
Your government.
Okay, but going on to what?
No, go ahead.
Going on to like just someone coming up and saying you can't do the same way you were taking away your right. I think anybody would be appalled by that. It's just depending on, I guess, some people, just depending on what the situation is. I mean, I've had rights taken away from me because of a decision I made when I was younger. And I still don't have those rights. And it sucks.
And you know, the funny thing about your rights is that when you have them and then you enjoy them, you don't want them taken away, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah. And you don't think about it. You don't like take it for granted.
The biggest rights we all have is the right to bear arms, right? Texas, we're big. Carry a gun. Everybody I know carries a weapon in some form or fashion or owns one. Now, let me ask you a question.
I can't. Well, I'm not allowed to have that right either.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you could and you did, would you want somebody coming here and telling you that they're going to take that right away from you?
A lot more people die by guns than abortion. Yeah, just saying.
That's exactly my point. But people are up in arms. You can't take my guns away. Yeah. They don't want that to be taken away. Why are so many people so gung-ho on them taking away freedom of choice? I just don't understand it, how people flip-flop so easily when it comes to something that they believe is true or they believe in. The hypocrisy, to me, is where I'm just kind of like, I'm flabbergasted.
You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head, Brian. It's hypocrisy and it's hypocrisy in its greatest form. So yeah,
because it doesn't affect them. That's why they can do.
Look, I'll go even a little bit further. Listen, I have told everybody I am neither Democrat nor Republican. I'm a very centrist individual. Common sense makes sense to me. I believe of a limited form of government, but I also believe that there's some things that the government needs to have the power in order to do. I can't understand people, and this is not, I'm not trying to be political here. I can't understand hypocrisy on either side of the aisle. I don't like people saying that the riots, when they were talking about George Floyd and all that kind of stuff, which I don't believe I heard a whole lot of people that are around me saying that riots were good. But then people on the other side were saying that January 6th was peaceful rioting, to where now people are picketing the decision at people's houses, which I don't agree with. I don't think you should picket anywhere by anybody's house. If you want to picket at your state legislator's office or city hall or whatever you want to be, do that. But I'm not a big on intervening or being in somebody's personal space because you're taking that personal when it's not a personal decision, it's a government thing. But when people flip flop, when it becomes convenient or if it fits their narrative, it's where I really have a problem. And this is one of those things where people are flip flopping because it fits their narrative and what they believe God is about. And I'm like, what about church and separation between church and state? Where do you stand on that aspect? So why are you bringing God and religion into this argument here?
I think if I can, I think where the lines might get blurred a little bit. There, it is talked about in the Bible about being subject to authority, but a lot of times that gets taken out of context. It gets taken, too far, or people will try to manipulate what that means to them and try to run with it. So I think that's where some of the lines get blurred.
And Donnie Simpson, or Donnie Simpson,
Um,
Donnie Stone, real quick, Megan, before you start. Donnie, I don't think we want everyone to agree with our narrative. And that's what makes good leaders leaders. Because I consider myself a leader in progress. I'm always working. When I have a room full of individuals, I always go into that room thinking I have the best idea to solve a problem or to implement a new solution. The people around me are supposed to blow holes in it or come up with a better solution. As a leader, you say, wow, I was way going down this rabbit hole and I needed to be pulled out and put on this path. Thank you for other people allowing me to, listen to what you brought to the table. And it opens my eyes. That is not what Drinks and Discussion is about, is to have people agree with our narrative. I don't think that makes a good human being. You have to be willing to open your eyes and see both sides. And then you can make an educated decision.
I mean, otherwise we'd be in a totalitarian or a fascist type world if we all had to listen to one and believe and agree with one narrative.
Right.
I mean, having differences of opinions is what makes ingenuity happen, is what brings out good ideas, and not the other ideas not being bad. There's just a better one, and as time moves forward, more and more people come up with more and more things. You don't have to agree with them all. Plus, how
Right.
boring would life be if we all agreed?
Right.
Right. It's okay to be challenged, or Brian, to use your word, like that. It's okay to have discourse with one another. We're not always going to agree.
What would you guys
Hey,
rather see? Go ahead, Marcus.
Oh no, I was just going to say how Donnie Stone made a comment, or Donnie made a comment. So many external circumstances can affect any choice.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, would you rather see more teen pregnancies in bathrooms and trash bags and people on welfare? Because I know on the right, there's a lot of people who say that there's too many people on welfare. People don't want to work. All these other things. And then you have people living off the government.
Population.
And then taxes go up. And all these other types of scenarios that are induced because of the teenage pregnancy problems and people living off welfare. There's more to just the abortion story that stops and ends with a woman's decision. It's a pattern, a psychological pattern that affects women from any age all the way up until the older ages. So again, having a right to do it doesn't even make that decision even more palatable. The decision is never easy. It's never easy to live with, but having the right to do it, I think, is fundamental to the society in which we are trying to live here in the United States of America, and that is freedom of choice, all the freedoms that we should be able to have as a free Americans.
Back to something that Megan said right in the very beginning. I mean, what is it about this particular right? What is it about this particular right that why do they want to take it away so bad? And then where do they stop? We
Yeah.
are we going to
How
lose the right to? are we going to lose the right to drive our car? Are we going to lose the right to choose where we want to work? I mean, they could get legislation involved on anything if they really wanted to.
Right.
Yeah. I just, because they're saying it's unconstitutional. So if y'all in the chat can tell me how it's unconstitutional.
What's unconstitutional?
Abortion. Your camera's blurry.
I fixed it.
And Ginger, don't get me wrong, I love the winter.
I think we're running into some freezing on some of the live stream because I was going on Wi-Fi. I just plugged in a network cable, so hopefully we'll avoid from any more freezings.
Oh, there you are. You're back now.
Okay. Yeah, I just plugged in my network
Yeah,
cable. Got off of Wi-Fi. Freedom Fighter, how's it going? Thanks for joining. We appreciate it. So it's always good, I believe, to disagree and have a hearty conversation. And I appreciate everybody's viewpoints. It can't be easy for anyone, whether you decide to have it or you don't. I don't think it's an easy decision to have. More power to you. If you do have it, you have to have an abortion. I hope nothing but the best. But at the end of the day, I'm a man. I will never have to deal with the personal effects of having to deal with an abortion, other than if I'm involved with someone who I truly love and care for, and seeing them go through something like that. I, again, have been through in a relationship with my wife who miscarried. It's still a traumatic event. So all you people who've shared your stories, I, for one, appreciate it. You don't ever have to share your personal stories, but I'm glad we can provide a platform where you feel comfortable enough to do so. And that's one of the objectives that we decided that we wanted to do here, is to make people feel comfortable, that we're not going to hold it against you if you share your personal experiences, but we want to embrace it and then continue to share ours as well.
Yeah, this is the judge-free zone. And I agree with you, Donnie. They do need to be made with an understanding. I think a lot of choices need to be made with understanding. I think people who bring children into this world also should make a choice before they start bringing children in. It's a very heavy decision.
So I think if you guys will allow us to switch the conversation a little bit, because as we like to do for the most part on this podcast, is we want to leave everyone in a more of a lighter mood, not with something heavy that they're going to go to bed and think about, because it was just so weighty, and that type of a topic is kind of a weighty topic. So
How long on?
Sorry. We're almost 2 hours.
Oh.
I mean, listen, Marcus and I, we don't always do the whole 4-hour streams. We don't think that we're that entertaining. If Nick and everybody else had joined, if Trey would have joined and all these other people we had, maybe would have had a conversation a little bit more. But there's a lot of stuff that we have to do tomorrow as well. So I don't like the 4 hours.
I know for sure.
I don't like.
I still got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, but so let's leave it on a high note again, because I still am putting Marcus and Megan and you guys also on the hot seat. No one can list 5 great movies. 5 great movies. No one has still mentioned that from the last podcast. And I still want to know, what are the 5 great movies you've seen? And I start thinking about this. Let me tell you why. I was looking at my Plex, and don't say anything about Cody again, Megan. I know you are a big Cody person. I still don't have Cody. I don't watch movies on Cody, but I still am a Plex guy. Apple, Samsung, whatever. It's the difference. But I started looking at these movies I had. I was like, oh, I forgot about this movie. I forgot about this movie. So then I was like, okay, I got at least a good top 4. And then my 5th one is kind of like, it can go either way. So, Marcus, let's go first, because I know Megan has probably got some good ones, but Marcus, go ahead.
No,
you have 0 good ones.
Yeah. See, I'm bad. I'm bad at top 5ing anything. Be it music or movies. But let me see here.
Didn't say top. He just said really good. So
Really
you don't
good,
have to think
right.
like, no, I know I like better movies than that one. Just really good ones that stand out.
Just 5 movies that you know you can watch over and over and over again.
Okay. One that I know I can watch over and over again. Don't laugh at me. Is the Five Heartbeats. That's
Yeah.
one that I know I can watch because I can
Hold on.
sing and dance to that one.
Can I share something real quick? The song, and it's funny you mentioned this. The song, "A Heart Is a House," when they do that,
Yes.
that's probably one of the greatest. Not one of the greatest. It's probably in the top 10 greatest scenes in a movie. It's just, if you like song music and music stuff, it's just a great moment in the movie. The movie's okay for me, but that part of that movie was fantastic.
Okay, and then another one that I can watch over and over again because I had to sneak and watch it when I was a kid, because it was rated R, is Revenge of the Nerds. So I can watch that one and recite the lines.
Okay.
Trying to think. Another one that comes on that I'll watch. Any of the grown-up movies with Adam Sandler. I'll watch those. Gosh, I'm trying to think. That's all I've got right now.
Okay, Megan, go ahead. Give me a few real quick.
So one of my all-time favorites, which I actually read the book after I saw the movie, and it's like the only ones that I think that you should do that is Memoirs of a Geisha. It's a really, really, really good book, but the movie's done so well that the visuals you get from the movie are key while you read the book. So that's a really good. And then kind of going back to when I was younger, Fifth Element's one I can always watch over and over again. I'm kind of burnt out on it, but I'm including movies I'm currently burnt out on because there's a reason I'm burnt out on them, because they're that good. And then I kind of got to go with Happy Gilmore. It's one of my favorites.
That's a good one.
I mean, Porky's. I do like Porky's, but
I like Porky. I like Porky's too. That was one of the ones that I would.
The one scene where she's trying to explain to the principal what she saw in the bathroom was just hilarious. I mean, you can't stop laughing. But so let's see. I named off 3 right there. And I don't think comedy should be overlooked as like good movies because they're not as much work put into them or cinematography and such.
So let me read off a couple.
3.
Let me read off a couple of them in the chat. Funny Girl, Liz says, "Funny Girl, Singing in the Rain, How the West Was Won, Mary Poppins, and Easter Parade." Then there was Inception by Zeus, who is Trey, by the way. He's trying to be incognito, Marcus. You see how he's trying to do that?
Oh, is that okay? I was wondering who Zeus was.
Yeah. And Inception is a really good movie. And then let me see if I've missed anybody else. If I missed anybody else, please put your
Silly Wabbit says Transformers, John Wick, Rambo, Spider-Man, and Terminator.
Okay.
Die Hard.
Silly Wabbit.
Alan Rickman's one of my favorite actors because of Die Hard.
So let me give you guys some other ones that these are going to be way over the place. And somebody said that Marcus has an eclectic taste in movies. You could tell Marcus grew up in the suburbs, folks. You could tell Marcus grew up in the suburbs. So I'm not going to say Happy Gilmore. I'm just going to say all Adam Sandler movies. My wife and I enjoy Adam Sandler movies because they're just so lighthearted. You can watch them. And sometimes they make you feel kind of good, and sometimes you can even feel a little romantic for part of them. He just takes your mind away from everything in the world. So Adam Sandler, kudos to you. Maybe you'll be on Drinks and Discussions one day. I saw you at the International House of Pancakes one day, so maybe you'll come on here. I'm just saying. Better Off Dead, Aliens, and The Right Stuff. C. Allen. So I got all of Adam Sandler movies for me. So then there is The Goonies. Sorry. The Goonies is just a good thing for me. Then my third one, since you guys left it on 3, is The Sandlot. Well, actually, I'm going to make it 2 and 1. It's The Sandlot and Rookie of the Year. They're both big kitty baseball movies that I watched. I was probably older than those kids for Rookie of the Year, but I find them so lighthearted and just great. And yes, Elizabeth Stevens.
You can see that movie forever.
Forever. And my son even says Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy, also from The Sandlot. If you guys don't know how bad of a fan I am of The Wedding Singer, I will send you a link. I'll send a link right now if you want me to. Not because I'm bragging, or nor that am I thinking that I'm like the world's greatest husband, boyfriend, fiance, or any of that stuff. But I'm going to send you this link and tell you and show you what I did for my wife and I's. And if this is probably going to get me doxxed, I get it. It's going to get me doxxed. But this is from, if you like The Wedding Singer, this is what I got from The Wedding Singer when I proposed to my wife. Does that show up in the chat, by the way, the link?
Yes.
Okay. That is what I chose to sing because of The Wedding Singer to propose to my wife. It's because I love that movie so much. And don't laugh at me either, because I'm still trying to lose weight from way back then. I'm still kind of trying to cut off the pounds. But anyway, anything? You're killing me, Smalls. That's right, you're killing me, Smalls. That is also a big sign. I say that to my son all the time. All the time. Scrooged? You like Scrooge? I kind of go with Groundhog's Day before Scrooged. I've never seen Shawshank Redemption. Is that bad?
What?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it all the way. I don't think I've seen it all the way through either. I've seen bits and pieces of it.
That's crazy. That's like such a well done movie.
I've heard everybody I know says great things about it. I have it on my Plex, I think. I just haven't seen it. I don't know why.
I watched it when I was a kid.
But I'm the kind of guy that I do a lot of sports watching, and my wife and I, we're watching TV together. We watch like cooking reality shows like Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay, or we're watching The Masked Singer together and all those kind of stuff. Oh, Bedtime Stories was a fun movie, by the way, and C. Allen. It took me a while to be convinced to watch. I'd never seen The Wire. I actually binge watched The Wire. I had never seen The Sopranos, and literally I watched those this year, the entire series of both of those. And by the way, I like The Wire a lot better than The Sopranos. The Sopranos kind of was up and down for me, but I was never really big on watching like those long, repetitive series until people started telling me to start. I need to start watching them. Working from home gives me a lot of free time, and when I'm in my office, I have to spend a lot of time doing other things. And that's why I'm starting to work out a little bit more if I'm not out of the office, or I binge watch TV shows and things that people say I miss. I'm putting, before the next podcast, you guys hold me to this, I am going to watch Shawshank Redemption all the way through before the next podcast. And I'll tell you guys what I think.
Now, I was going to go back to, I believe Elizabeth had a comment about musicals. I like musicals too, and I would say Grease, High School Musical, and The Greatest Showman are my three favorites.
Oh, for me, Chicago. Chicago's up there as one of my favorite musicals.
I don't think I've ever seen a musical. Oh, wait a minute. Stop. I did see Hairspray, the movie. It's a musical.
Oh, okay.
There's two of them.
Well, I like the old one, not the one with John Travolta. The other one with the bigger girl. But then I also liked Dreamgirls. Dreamgirls, I thought, was fabulous. The only song, I am telling you right now, this may come to a shock to everybody on this podcast or this stream. I am 100% positive that Beyonce is by far the worst singer ever to make a lot of music. I don't think she can sing. I really just don't. There's one song in the Dreamgirls movie that I really, hands down, think is the greatest song she's ever sung. Listen. It's by far her greatest achievement in music. She sounds great in it. She sounded like she was passionate about it, and when she sang it to a person that was abusive to her, it spoke to me, and maybe that's why I like that song. But outside of that, I've never really liked any of her songs. Even Destiny's Child, Kelly Rowland was a better singer than Destiny's Child than Beyonce. Tell me I'm wrong, Marcus.
Kelly Rowland is a better singer?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay.
I would agree. Yeah.
I never listened to Destiny's Child. And I was Beyonce, so
We'll talk about music next week because I got some things. I played Rick Astley by mistake on the golf course the other day.
How funny.
And people were like, "Why do you have Culture Club, Rick Astley, and Journey on your playlist right now?" I said, because it's the wrong playlist that I'm playing right now. Because when I mow the lawn, I like to listen to some of those things. So I like. I'm sorry if I'm going on and on about stupid stuff and nobody wants to listen to this, but when it comes to music, I listen to Ambrosia. I listen to Hall & Oates. I listen to Journey. I listen to Michael McDonald. I listen to all those guys on top of some of the newer stuff and some of the 90s hip hop, the rap. I listen to NWA. I listen to Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. I listen to all those people. But when I just want to belt out a song or two while I'm mowing the lawn, the Rick Astleys and the Journeys and the Ambrosia, biggest part of me, man. Come on. You guys gonna feel any of that? Come on, Marcus. I know you do. Is Marcus frozen?
yeah, you kind of glitched out on me too.
No, I can see you, but Marcus is definitely 100% frozen.
Yeah, he froze for a minute there too because I didn't catch the last thing that you said.
Oh, about me mowing and belting out a few Rick Astley's #1 hits. There's Marcus now. You're back, Marcus.
Oh, okay. Am I back now? Okay.
You're back
Okay.
now.
Yeah, no, I started to say that one of my favorite Michael McDonald songs, I can't remember the name of it, but I believe it was the title song in that movie from the 80s called Running Scared. It was with Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal, I think it was. That was one of my favorite movies back in the day. But yeah, Michael McDonald, I like him too.
I can't remember that song either, but I remember the movie. But I
Yeah.
can't remember that song. And yes, Chris, I have seen Ray with Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx did a absolutely fabulous job in that role. I didn't like the movie per se because that was a little bit, be out before my time. But I thought Jamie Foxx did an excellent role. Did an excellent job in that role.
Yeah, he did. I saw him in concert shortly after he won the Oscar for playing that role. He was at the Verizon
that's
Theater.
Right.
Yeah.
I know I'm missing some of the other chats in here too, but Liz, I didn't see the Big Bang Theory. I did hear I liked Sheldon in that show. I've heard he was really funny and he's just a comical guy. I've seen some things that he's done, but I've never sat down and just actually watched that. My wife and I never really watched that show. Morgan Freeman is an absolutely fantastic guy, which by the way reminds me, don't sleep on Seven.
I never saw that.
Speaking of Morgan Freeman, he has this documentary show on religion. Actually, it's very he just goes through and talks to people from all over the world I believe it's called. Forget, but it was on Netflix.
Yes.
What's it called?
I'm not sure. I
See.
forgot. I know what you're talking about. But
I'll
I
find it.
know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about.
The Story of God.
Story of God. Yes, and he's the narrator of that. Yep.
Well, he's not just a narrator. I mean, he's a narrator in a lot of things because his voice is amazing. But no, he goes and travels and sits down and talks to these people.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like one of the ones he was like narrating over the story, but no, I didn't know that was he was actually traveling on that.
Interact this time.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't just get to play God as an actor. He gets to go talk to people about God.
Nice.
Because
Okay.
he's played God in movies like a good amount of times.
Okay. Speaking of Morgan Freeman, I'm gonna give you my 5th movie. I've already said 4. I'm gonna give you my 5th one. And the reason I was saying this movie because I was single by myself in my house, in my media room, watching this movie. And in the opening, I'm not gonna tell you the movie until I tell you about what happened. One of the opening scenes is a guy takes the card deck and he flips the card deck and he says, "Pick a number." And I'm sitting up there following it because I'm intently watching. And I'm watching and I pick the number. Next thing you know, they cut to a building and the building shows the number I picked. And I said to myself, wait a minute. How did this movie know what card I was going to pick? So I replayed it 5 times. This is the beginning of this movie, folks. And if you haven't seen it, I want you to do the same thing I did. Watch it and then to go in it and thinking, there's no way this is going to happen. I watched it 5 times before I finished the movie because I wanted to see how they did it. And I realized how they did it. But the movie is called Now You See Me. And Morgan Freeman is in it. And if you like magic like me, I'm a person who loves magic. I call myself an amateur magician. To little kids. If you're over the age of 5, my magic don't work for you. But 5 and under, that's my audience. If you want to book me for your kids' parties, please let me know. Drinks and Discussions. I'll come without the drinks.
That's on Amazon Prime. All right, I can watch it.
Yes, it's a phenomenal movie. But if you like those movies like Inception, by the way, we were talking to some people about Inception, Zeus. You have to follow it, and then at the end, it's one of those movies. It has a lot of twists and stuff, and at the end, you're going like, how did I not catch that? How did I not see that? By the way, Donnie Stone, I'm not sure if you're asking me what's the best rap song ever, but CL Smooth and Pete Rock, Reminisce Over You is not the best rap song ever. I'm just going to tell you right now, flat out. There's no way. Not even close, in my opinion. It's a great song. I even like Uptown Baby by Pete Rock and CL Smooth better than I like Reminisce Over You. Uptown Baby, we gets down baby, for the crown baby. And that's where, by the way, Shakira stole that sample from CL Smooth and Pete Rock. Hips Don't Lie is a ripoff of CL Smooth and Pete Rock, in case you guys didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. or is it a ripoff? I mean, is she
it's the exact same hook.
Is she paying?
That same hook.
I mean, is she paying for?
No. When I say ripoff, I don't know what the business dealings are of that whole situation.
Got it.
I'm just saying that's the hook from that song.
Got it.
I don't want to misspeak and then somebody say, Brian, she paid the rights to have. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I ain't know their record label. Okay, so we could go on and on. Revenge of the Nerds is an amazing movie.
Yes.
Clap
Thank
your
you,
hands,
Ginger.
everybody, and everybody clap your hands.
Clap your hands.
We're talking
Lambda.
Revenge of the Nerds. Legal Eagle did a breakdown of Revenge of the Nerds to count how many laws they broke. Pretty good episode.
Really?
Nice.
I love Legal Eagle.
those were the good old days.
Yeah, back then you didn't have to be as PC.
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean,
Speaking of,
Porkies would never ever fly.
okay,
No, it would not.
wait a
Oh
minute.
hell no.
Okay, speaking of PCs, and I'm not gonna try to drag people on, keep you up past your bad time, but what do you guys have to say about all these comedians being attacked by some of the jokes that they're telling? What is
That's why
going
I
on?
I went on JL's stream about that because it started with Will Smith and then Dave Chappelle got attacked. And it's kind of coming to like, what happened on YouTube with people getting doxxed and being like, well, I don't like your content, so I'm going to send someone to your house and fuck with you. Sorry, pardon my language, and mess with you. But I mean, it's just like, if you don't like it, don't watch. Why was that guy at Dave Chappelle's show in the first place? It's like,
Well,
So was it the guy at Dave Chappelle's show? Was it just a
is an audience.
patron? Okay.
he
I
planned.
haven't seen
He
it, but
planned.
someone told me.
So the guy planned this, and he's
Mhm.
only being charged with misdemeanor crimes because they think that there's something mentally wrong with this guy. Get it? No problem. That is my point on some of the other stuff that we'd be talking about on some of the other channels. You guys don't understand how impressionable people with mental disabilities are, and their reality isn't quite up to stuff with our reality. So when you got Philly the Hood doing your dirty work and he's mentally unstable, but he thinks that that's reality and how people behave, that's what makes Joey so much more scarier. Not because he is scary, but it's the people with those mental inequities, those mental challenges that are the dangerous people.
Yeah.
Comedy goes a long way as far as for me and my family. My dad and we watched the Cosby Show, Red Fox, all these people who've done it before. And at the time, if you haven't seen the history of comedy on VH1, History Channel, one of them, it's a riveting documentary. And how people use their own personal, especially Richard Pryor, was an abused individual, all these types of things, drug addict, and all that kind of stuff. And he took those pains and made comedy out of his own. And when you're laughing, you're like, there's no way that this thing is a real life story. But he turns it into a joke, and people are laughing at his real life tribulations. So when people get upset about the stories or the comedic routines, I get it. It might strike them personally, and they might feel as if, oh, it's not funny because it happened to me. I just am not in that. Look, again, I'm not Democrat or Republican. I just don't see how people can sit there and say it's wrong. Even if you're going through it, lighten the hell up, people. Laugh occasionally, because sometimes laughter is the best medicine. I just don't understand what these people's problems are. Walking on the stage and slapping somebody because they are making fun of you because of your wife. Look, people make fun of me all the time. I have been on channels before Joey and Marcus. I don't know if Megan was there, but people were cracking on me and calling me Barack Jr. and all these other names. I'm sitting up there going, okay, this is cool. That's fine. I could take it. And
Look, if you go, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying if you're going to go to a comedy show, I don't know where this person was sitting, but if you're going to go to a comedy show, you don't want to sit in the front. If you can't take the heat, don't sit in the front.
Right.
Unless you're planning on attacking the comedian.
Unless you're playing.
Or you prepared that the comedian is going to attack you. He's going to roast you at some point. And see, Alan, you were right. It's not always about the guy that's spitting all of the rhetoric. It's the persons that are listening to the rhetoric that you have to be more conscientious about than the person actually saying it. One of my clients that I do for my company is a comedy club, and I asked him when Will Smith actually slapped the comedian, because it's a little intimate little showroom for this comedy club. Have you ever been to the Improv? It's like that. And he goes, no, not yet. But they said I roast people all the time. And I said, I guarantee you that there's somebody who's going to either be a Karen and you're talking about something, or you're going to have somebody who's going to be offended about something that you say. I just don't understand the offensiveness that people get in comedy. You can offend me if you're angry. If you're angry and you're coming from a spot of hatred, you can offend me. Mm-hmm. But if you are you're conveying and projecting yourself as being someone who is lighthearted and this is only a joke, I can 9 times out of 10 brush aside anything that you have to say. That's just me. I don't understand what kind of a situation or society we're in where people are up in arms when it can't take a joke.
Yeah, because I don't know how Daniel Tosh has made it this far. Have you guys seen his stand of the ad in Orange County? Right. It was really funny. Really funny. But nobody was off limits. And I think that's if you're going to do insult comedy, nobody's off limits. You got to be like South Park.
So it's like Tosh 2.0. It's ridiculousness. It's a bunch of people who look at videos and laugh about the stupid stuff that people post. You might post it thinking, oh yeah, this is so cool. I'm going to be famous. And people are going to take that footage and make fun of you. If you can't take it, why are you putting your private shit on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever else? That is what I don't understand as well.
Yeah. I don't post anything on. I put some pictures of my cats on the page that Dr. Dave was doing. That's the last thing I've posted in years.
I haven't stopped posting outside of Joey. I'm never going to stop posting. And if people keep asking the question, because I know someone asked me, why are we not in Uncorked? I've already mentioned that while we were not here. It's not because of Joey, even though Joey mentioned on one of his streams that he called Marcus. I'm not sure if you know this, but he said he called Uncorked and told them that they should not allow us to be up there. And
who was this now?
This is the guy who was calling me all the names on the podcast that you're on. That was yelling, little white guy. And,
on the other channel.
Yeah. And he
really?
he thought he could tell us not to go up to Uncorked. And I laughed and I laughed and I laughed.
Wow.
But anyway, that's a different story. I just want to make sure people understand it's not because Joey that we're not in Uncorked. Trust me, it's not the reason why we're not there. My wife had, again, I'll reiterate because we didn't have enough all the viewers on there. My wife had a dinner date with all of her friends tonight, and I was on daddy duty. So it was my duty to give dinner, play, and get into a bathtub with my 4-year-old tonight. And so that was that. Look at Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr? I don't know if I know who Jimmy Carr is.
British. Look up Eddie Izzard. He's hilarious. That was more of the 90s, so it's kind of a different type of humor than we're used to nowadays. But Eddie Izzard's still probably my favorite stand-up.
Do you guys remember Andrew Dice Clay?
Mm-hmm. Now I remember the name. Right now I can't picture him.
He was the most shock white comic that hit the mainstream. He filthy mouth, cigarette smoking, leather jacket,
Brooklyn guy.
Crude humor. Definitely not for the faint of heart. I hate to say it. Before all the accusations and stuff, Bill Cosby used to be my favorite comedian. Outside of Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's still my favorite.
Yes. I pattern a lot of my parenting based on his Cosby Show episodes.
Yeah. Right. Can't imagine how it'd feel to be so close-minded either. Be offended by the world. Or even people who suffer from paranoia and think everyone's after them. I don't know what that'd be like.
And guess what? Listen, and I'm not trying to make light of anybody who has a mental disorder or anything like that, but I'm 100% in agreement. How do you walk around in life taking yourself so seriously? I'm not that person. Never have been. I was a small guy in elementary school, not only was I a small guy, but Marcus can attest to this. I was one of a very I guarantee you there was not more than 5 black people in my school. Not more than 5, and we're talking about kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and sixth grade. Not more than 5 black people. So growing up and having a thick skin in the early 80s, it's something you just had to do. Because if you think things are bad right now when it comes to racial divide, things were still, we weren't accepted. I wasn't accepted in a lot of the games, a lot of the kids' games. I would have the black jokes hurled at me all the time at a young age. It builds your thick skinness, if you will. I'm trying to look for the right word. I'm thinking I'm just going to use it helps you build your character, if you will, when you have to go through that at a certain age. And you sometimes it molds you into a person that's going to, champion it. And there's sometimes it beats you. I mean, it gets you the best of you. And I know a lot of people that went to school with me in the same suburbs, and they chose, believe it or not, they chose to go hardcore. Like, I didn't grow up around black people, so now I'm going to try to embrace my culture and not only just be around black people, but I'm going to the hood. Because I didn't grow up in the hood, but I'm going to the hood. And I want to be as hood as I possibly can be. Because my parents robbed me from being in the hood growing up. So now I just want to be as hood as I possibly can. I don't understand that, but just saying. It has happened. I know people on the white side too, by the way, who go, I never grew up in a double wide, but my hillbilly flag bearing, Confederate flag, motorcycle wearing people are what attracts me now. So that's where I want to go and live. I don't get that either. So it's hard to understand people. I feel sorry for therapists. Do you think they make a lot of money right now? Do you think they're in big business right now with therapists? So therapists making the big money?
They can charge what they want, depending on how good they are.
I am. I had a visit with mine today. All is good. I do my check-ins, every so often.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. See, Alan said, look up Eddie Murphy's Italians and tell me he wasn't talking about Vegas. I want to look it up now because I'll put the link. If you got it, see Alan, put the link. Well, you probably can't send the link. Send me a message and I'll put the link out there about that one because that's hilarious. Again, this is not a channel to talk about Lil Joey. I wish him the best. I have not heard from him. I don't think anybody really has heard from him in the last couple of days. I am glad to see the things that I saw on Friday the Trolls early podcast yesterday about the petition that people signed. Glad to see that. I don't like bullies in any form or fashion. I kind of think sometimes in my life, unfortunately, I probably was a bully. And that may be one of the reasons why I'm kind of so anti-bully right now. Even in my adult age, I think in my early 20s, Marcus, I don't know, Marcus, in Richardson, there wasn't a big population of black people or either. And if you were black and you were listening,
it's a lot different now, but no, but not back then.
Absolutely. But back then, when you're driving a Geo Tracker and your brother's got a Geo Tracker and you've got other guys who've got the same kind of cars, we just rolling through Taco Bell, and we were just thought we were just, again, I was cocky and arrogant and, bench pressing, 285 at an early age and all this kind of stuff. It was just like one of those things where when you grow up and you realize some of the things that you've done wrong in life, and Megan, you probably know the exact same thing, not to the degree of bullying, but when you make mistakes in life, when you grow up, you just kind of want to make sure that you are a better person and set a better example.
You own up to them.
You own up to them. And
forgive yourself because you're human.
Forgiving yourself is easy. if you love yourself. If you've got really high self-esteem, which I've always had, it's easy. It's when you have people who you respect and you still keep vying for that forgiveness. That's when it gets a little kludgy, a little complicated. When you still, and I'm a middle child, and so I've always had that middle child syndrome too, where it's always, I want to make sure people think I'm always the greatest, the smartest, the this and that. And I still deal with that type of a syndrome even now. I always want people to think that I'm the good guy, the smart guy, the guy who's, if you need something, always call him Brian. He's but that reminds me of something somebody said to me, and this is what I'm trying not to do. On one of our podcasts, people thought we were on our soapbox and judging people and thought we were better than people. I hope that I don't ever come across that way. I try not to come across that way. And if I do, I always want to let people know that that's not where I'm coming from. Even when we were going to against, what is that? Better Trust and whatever his name is. Trust and something. He was saying that we were giving him advice and all these kind of stuff. Broken systems, broken trust. He said we were giving him advice and thought we were better than him and all that kind of stuff. I listen to people and I try to, if you ask me a question, I'll give you my perspective, and that's all I'm gonna try to do. And based upon your actions, if you're in a public forum, if it were one-on-one, it's totally different. I'm just gonna listen, and if you want me to tell you what I think, ask me. But don't be afraid to listen to what I'm going to tell you. Period. But if you don't want to know what I want to say, don't ask me. And if you don't want to hear what people have to say about you, don't show up on this live stream. Period. That's all I have to say. I'm not really trying to get over there on that whole little subject or matter over there, but somebody had mentioned Joey a couple of times in the chat.
So,
What'd you say?
sorry about that.
What'd you say about Saul?
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Huh?
What'd you say about Saul?
No, I said, hold. My phone was ringing. I couldn't get it to stop.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the heck?
Freedom Fighter. It's a draw. They both are great.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Hey, I have to take this call. I'm just going to mute real quick.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, Freedom Fighter, if it was up to me, James Earl Jones, hands down, over Morgan Freeman. James Earl Jones has the best voice of all time.
Yes.
And I may be a little, what's the word? I'm a little biased because of Darth Vader. I'm sorry. But James Earl Jones is a legend, in my opinion. I like Morgan Freeman's voice, but I think that's because I grew up with Morgan Freeman on the Electric Company. How many people remember Morgan Freeman? How many people remember him on the Electric Company?
That. I do. Wow, I forgot all about that.
Okay, so if you guys didn't know, Electric Company was the competition for Sesame Street, and Morgan Freeman was on the Electric Company, guys. Cheers to that. Before he became an actor. By the way, speaking of Morgan Freeman, Lean on Me, I can watch over and over and over again.
Yes, that's a good one. Yep.
I just watched it again, probably like last week. I know Marcus is probably. I'm gonna wait till Megan comes back before we end the stream. Oh, there she is. And then when I end the stream, before Megan was gonna come back on here, but we're talking about Clerics of Chaos tried to audit. What? Where's Cleric of Chaos? Where's he been, by the way? I see, Alan. Have anybody heard from Clerics of Chaos? I really like that guy's real mellow tone. He's a very laid back individual. But I've never haven't seen him in the last couple of live streams. Oh, Ryan Reynolds, by the way, I think he's an overrated individual, but I like Ryan Reynolds. Don't ask me why I like him. I think
He's hilarious.
He's hilarious. But all his movies are he's the same. His acting is the exact same on every movie he's ever played. He's the exact same character. Whether it's Deadpool or The Proposal or even in his movie on Netflix right now when he's the space traveler. He's the same character. He's the smart alecky hotshot
He
guy.
wasn't that character in that one movie.
What movie?
Where the guy keeps on just recycling bodies and he lives forever and such. I forget the name of the movie.
Oh, the one was in the arcade game.
Name of it?
Yeah, he's in the arcade.
He wasn't like super sarcastic in that one.
It was like recent, right? Wasn't it Netflix on recently on Netflix?
Yeah.
What was that?
And did you see? Did you see C. Allen's comment? That's the one I forgot about too.
I forgot about that too. Lawrence Fishburne was Cowboy Cody on Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Can we verify this? Because I'm not really sure. Can we verify this?
I think we might be able to.
Wow. That surprises me. And by the way, I'm glad Lawrence Fishburne was not in the new Matrix movie because that was trash. And that's the first.
Yeah, Lawrence. She was. Yeah, he's on few.
And by the way, that's another movie I could watch over and over again. Is the first Matrix. The first Matrix, hands down, was an absolutely genius of a movie.
There's another Ryan Reynolds movie that he wasn't the same character.
And it's time to add the perfect accessories to your new Chevy. Make it bolder.
I don't know what your new Chevy is going to be, Megan, but it's going to be bolder.
I can barely hear you.
Because you got some commercials playing in your background. What was that new movie from Ryan Reynolds, though?
I got his list of movies now. So there's a Free Guy. I
Free
did
Guy.
see that. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember him being him like his normal sarcastic self. But the one I'm thinking of is, let's see, Six Underground. He played someone different than normal.
True story. Six Underground was a good movie. I will give you that.
Yeah.
Oh, what about the one with the Rock and they were stealing like the eggs, The Rock and Gail Gadot.
Oh yeah.
He played the same.
Something red code.
Yeah. He played the same
Yeah, that
person.
was the same. Selfless. That's the movie I'm thinking of.
Oh, Selfless?
American science fiction action thriller. Selfless.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
It's good.
Selfless.
It is on. Let's see what it's on. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
If you have that.
I do. I got it.
Sweet. Yeah, I thought it was good. And it's not his normal Deadpool-like self. But, I mean, his Deadpool character and his sarcastic characters, they're hilarious, too.
They're hilarious. I get it. It's good.
But yeah, but it's the same thing
It's
all
the
of the time.
exact
It's
same.
kind of like Bruce Willis.
Well,
And I love Bruce.
it's the same thing with The Rock, too. The Rock gives you the exact same The Rock is going to give you. They're not going to they're not like what's the guy who played Batman before this last Batman? Christian Bale. Christian Bale, I think, is a phenomenal actor. The guy who plays the Penguin in this movie, Colin Farrell, phenomenal actor.
Someone said he might have been a better Penguin than Danny DeVito. I'm like, how can anyone be a better Penguin than Danny DeVito? But I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet either.
So me and my neighbor watched it in my garage, and it's a 3-hour movie. When the movie was over, we looked at each other and said it didn't even seem like a 3-hour movie. And by the way, Ginger, The Proposal is probably one of my wife's and I's favorite movies as well, with Ryan Reynolds, with Betty White.
For a chick flick, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not a bad chick flick. I'm kind of I'm sorry. I hate to say this, but Speed is one of those movies I can watch as well because I love Sandra Bullock in Speed. I do. Every movie I see her, I keep thinking about her in Speed, and I just kind of had like a little crush on her in Speed, and so it was just. I mean, she was just like the adorable around the way American girl in Speed. Everybody wanted to fall in love with her, and Keanu Reeves was like this really macho but not overly macho guy. It was just a good movie for me.
It really was. That definitely should be, and somebody should have mentioned that. Not top five, but five good.
Just movies
That's
you can
one
watch.
I can see.
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna get an award for it, but it's one of those movies that if you haven't seen it in a while, I'll watch it again because it was just kind of an entertaining movie.
Old School is one of them.
Old School is one of them. I'll give you that.
Who?
Who?
I know. I was on the phone with my mom. I was only half listening to you guys when you're talking about Vince Vaughn. Old School.
Well, again, Wedding Crashers. I can watch Wedding Crashers over and over and over.
I think I've seen it, but I think I have the DVD.
Oh my gosh! There's so many things you can quote in Wedding Crashers. So many.
Well, Vince Vaughn's he's good. I like him.
Well, he has a horror movie. If you haven't seen the horror movie when he's in it, it's like a horror comedy movie. Can't tell you the name of it right now, but I will tell you about it later. And it is a great movie where he transforms like Freaky Friday meets Halloween. And he transforms into like a 17-year-old girl's body or 18-year-old girl's body.
It was Freaky Friday. It was the name of it, I think, but it was something after Freaky Friday. It was like Freaky Friday, something. But I saw that. It was good. That was a very different character.
Yes.
Kind of brought me back to Psycho. Because he was in that one too.
Was he? It was called It's called Freaky. It's just called Freaky.
That's it. Yeah. And then today I was looking at Benicio del Toro movies. Oh no, I guess that was last night. He's a versatile actor.
Yes.
He's
yes.
amazing. Just looking at, if you look at pick out one actor and just kind of like look through their movies, pretty entertaining. It's just like, wow, he played that guy?
Okay. So we're talking about versatility, and I'm going to be honest with you. I used to hate this guy. I wanted to punch him in the face. Got a lot of respect for me when I saw one movie, and again, another good movie I really, really like. Blood Diamond, for me, put Leonardo DiCaprio on the map for me as an actor. That
I'm with you.
And Inception, and then also what's the one where he played the cop with Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, and all those kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, that was a whole bunch of good actors.
What was that movie called? I can't remember.
I forget, but I kept confusing him with Matt Damon. Their characters looked so alike.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll find it.
And it was the funny thing because his character and Matt Damon's character, they were both interested in the same girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I like that in the writing. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm. It was a great movie. And I was not a Leonardo DiCaprio fan until then, but I just thought he was a smug. Me
neither. Same with Brad Pitt. I like when Brad Pitt was just a pretty face.
Yeah.
And you didn't really see much out of him. I was just like, pretty boys always, they have to work harder to impress me. So, but then once I saw his acting skills and like how he was versatile, and same with Leonardo DiCaprio, I felt the same way at the very beginning of their careers. The Departed.
Thank you, C. Allen. Thank you. The Departed.
Oh, Departed. That was good.
So another one that changed my mind. I'm not a big fan of. Was never a big fan. I know the rom-coms were kind of okay with Matthew McConaughey, but let me tell you something. Mud changed me. Mud. If you haven't seen Mud, I was so distraught when I knew the ending was coming. I stopped the movie. Again, this is gonna rattle myself.
Spoilers.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, we know it's sad.
I'm telling you myself, I had to stop the movie and didn't watch it for like 3 days to watch the ending. I didn't see the beginning. I didn't know. I just felt it was coming. And I said, I was just so enamored with his character. I was just kind of like, oh no. And I stopped the movie because I didn't want to feel sad at that time. I was getting sad. And I was like, man, this is not, I don't want to wait. I'm going to wait. And Liz, I've never seen the Schindler's List. And it's funny I haven't seen Schindler's List, and let me tell you why. Seinfeld is by far my favorite sitcom of all time. I watch Seinfeld all the time. Anytime, all the time. I can quote almost every episode. And there's an episode about Schindler's List when Jerry goes to the movie to watch Schindler's List, and he's making out with his girlfriend. And it's a big thing. And so there's a reason why Schindler's List is on my list of things to watch. Lincoln Lawyer is also good with Matthew McConaughey. There's a lot of Matthew McConaughey good movies. I'm just saying, it just took me a while to get turned on that he was just there. Hitch, by the way.
Okay.
Listen, Hitch is another movie I could watch all day long. I probably won't watch it as much anymore. I lost a little respect for that fella. But Hitch is a good movie. Good movie. I say we can talk about movies all day long, folks. We can watch all, but we're gonna keep Marcus up past his bedtime. We've already been going on.
Yeah.
I said we're gonna stop it at 2 hours, or it's 2:45. It's almost 3 hours. No soup for you, freedom fighter. It's great. Seinfeld is great. I'll talk about it. Look, don't double dip the chip. If you double dip the chip.
I have it all on DVD.
I had it on DVD, and I even had where they had like the scripts in some of the DVD collections, and then they had the little salt and pepper shaker from the Monk's Grill, and I have no idea I don't know where that is now. But Seinfeld is. I'm probably going to watch a little Seinfeld till I can wind down before I go to sleep tonight. All right, Marcus. All right, Marcus, go ahead.
Right.
By the way, before we start, I want to say, everybody, thank you. I know this is not what you normally are used to seeing on the podcast. We just come out here and talk about topics that are, common or current events. I hope we're not too boring for you, but if there's any topic that you think we should discuss, get some perspective on, please let us know. Send us a message. We'll talk about them. We are not afraid to discuss things as long as you come with a positive and non-argumentative being. We're more than happy to do it. So thank you all for watching and participating in the chats as well.
Yeah. And it's just when the attacks get personal, that's just when it's not intellectual anymore. Mm-hmm. Not a discussion between civil people.
Absolutely.
So that's what we don't do.
Absolutely. Marcus, what you going to say? You want to say something before we go?
Oh, no. I was going to leave everybody with a little dad joke.
Oh, yes. Dad joke. Here we go.
Why do bees have sticky hair?
Why do bees have sticky hair, Marcus?
Well, hold on a second. Give the chat like at least 30 seconds because I'm thinking. And don't look it up, folks. Do not look this up.
Something to do with honey.
Why do bees have sticky hair? I don't know, Marcus.
Because they use a honeycomb.
Wow.
That's good.
Megan, you were on it. I was trying not to laugh about it, but you're on it.
Well, dad jokes.
Yeah.
They're usually pretty obvious because they're aimed to kids, right?
Right.
Okay, Megan, what do you want to say to everybody before we head on out?
Oh, I thought I already said it in the whole discussing topics that others consider taboo or hard. I mean, coming with an open mind and leaving the personal insults and the being offended. Just leave that out the door, and you can really get far and understand a lot more about what the other side thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that knowledge is just amazing, and expanding your mind to understand others brings empathy, and empathy can solve a lot of problems.
I agree with you 100% because if you can put yourself in someone else's shoes and see how you would react if you were in that situation, is integral into maturity. And I'm hoping again that people don't come to this channel thinking that we are holier than thou, better than anyone, haven't gone through hardships, tribulations in our own lives, and things that we've had to move past. You would be wrong if you had that assumption. So if you're watching this on the replay, we're not here to dox anyone. We're not here to badmouth anyone. We're here just to have conversation. Everybody's welcome here. As long as you come with a mindset that you are going to have a civil discourse in our Drinks and Discussions. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Again, my job is not YouTubing. I go on to Dave's channel because I was invited on another channel, and Dave brought that other individual to his live stream, and Dave allowed me to do and come on his panel. And I've gotten to have an affinity for Dave because he's allowed me to do that. I invited him, Nick, also on these podcasts. They are more than welcome because they've given me that. And some of you guys have gotten to know me because of those channels, and I appreciate you guys coming over here and showing some support. We're not asking for a dime. We never will ask for a dime for this channel. We just want your participation, and then you guys have been great in doing that. So I want to just say from the bottom of my heart, and Marcus and Megan, who is just joining us on her as hosting on this channel, that we really appreciate that. And that's all we ask for. It's just for you, if you're going to be here, participate and have a hearty discourse. And for that, I thank you all. So
I thank you for allowing us to have this platform to discuss things on.
Always. We'll continue going. You may see Marcus and I at Drink Uncorked next week. Megan, of course, is in a different state, but we'll probably start doing more things like that. I'm happy to have Megan because we've always looked for a female part of our hosting panel. And that just makes me excited because we could talk about things that are important to females as well as males and have that type of discord or discussion between the two. All right.
And I know I don't speak for all females out there, ladies. I know it's just one voice.
All right, guys, we appreciate that. So with that, we want to say goodnight to you all. Everybody stay healthy. And if you are drinking out there somewhere, please drink responsibly. And if you're outside and you need to call an Uber, don't drink and drive.